Hello and welcome to this broadcast of Michigan men's basketball by WCBN Sports. My name is Evan Osterly alongside Akshay Luthra. Akshay, this is a Michigan team ranked 5th in the country coming off a loss at Illinois on Wednesday. They're taking on 10th ranked Oregon, who lost 2 games in the battle for Atlantis. Michigan and Oregon did not end up meeting there, but this is still a great Oregon team.
It's a really good Oregon team, and I don't think there's very many people that you could have asked at the beginning of the season that would have thought this would have been a top 10 matchup so early into this season. You know, Michigan unranked, Oregon not looking fantastic, especially in the battle for Atlantis, and yet they're the number 5 and 10th ranked teams in the country. Like, it's a top 10 matchup and better than you could have hoped for.
And a lot of it is Oregon was expected to be a good team, maybe not a great team coming in, but Michigan was expected to have some growing pains under first-year head coach Juwan Howard, and that just wasn't the case. They came out hot in the battle for Atlantis. The one thing for this Michigan team is that the offense hasn't really translated on the road as of yet, but at home and in neutral site games, they've been pretty darn good.
Yeah, the battle for Atlantis was just a massive statement to knock out the number 6 team in the country and the number 8 team in the country in back-to-back days, let alone games. It was just any questions you might have had about this team seemingly were answered, and yet then right after that the Louisville and Illinois games happen, and all of a sudden a whole brand new set of questions shows up. The Louisville game, no offense, 43 points total. The Illinois game, extremely disappointing. Granted, Vegas and BPI both had us losing that game, but I don't think there were many Michigan fans that were truly expecting we would lose. And so just to see us not only lose, but never really be that close. Granted, we didn't lose by that many, but it never felt like Michigan was going to win that game. So this will definitely be a good test here coming off of that loss. But I think the biggest question is, how will Michigan fare on the road? Obviously, we're not going to get a great answer to that today, but still a good test against the number 10 ranked team in the country.
Michigan starters Xavier Simpson, Franz Wagner, Eli Brooks, Isaiah Livers, and John Teskey. For Oregon, Peyton Pritchard, Chris Duarte, Anthony Mathis, CJ Walker, and Francis Okoro. And who are you looking for both teams to make an impact today?
For Michigan, you know, Xavier Simpson's had maybe the best season of his career. He's just been off the chart. Just the assists that he's been getting, he's been setting up everyone else on that offense. And, you know, as cool as well they've all been doing, it's thanks to Simpson's passing that's really been what's putting them over the top. When it comes to the Oregon side, Duarte, who's actually from Dominican Republic, has had one of his best seasons for sure. And Pritchard has been amazing. Peyton Pritchard scoring 18.8 points per contest. You know, that's fantastic no matter who you are in college. Just 18.8 points, you're going to have a good game if you're scoring almost 20 a game, that's for sure. So Pritchard and Duarte for Oregon, and really just Simpson and everyone else on Michigan.
Peyton Pritchard, senior guard for the Ducks, averaging 18.8 points per game. For the Wolverines, leading scorer Isaiah Livers averaging 14.8, John Teskey averaging 14.3 and 9, and then of course Xavier Simpson 12 points per game and just under 9 assists. Michigan favored by 2.5 in this game. We've got first-year head coach Juwan Howard against Dana Altman, tenured coach for the Ducks. Should be a good one, just moments away from tip-off here. Final thoughts before we get started.
Final thoughts are Michigan's had a couple of rough games recently. This is their shot to prove that those were just kind of flukes. Those were their road issues. Knock out another good top 10 team, and continue that battle for Atlantis run. Oregon was at battle for Atlantis. Michigan was at battle for Atlantis. If they can just think of it as a continuation from that tournament, then we should be just fine.
Francis Okoro will take the tip for the Ducks against John Teskey. We've got just about a sellout crowd here at Chrysler. The student section is as full as I've seen it all year. This Michigan team looking for one last chance in non-conference play to add to their NCAA tournament resume before a couple easier games before entering the full swing of conference play once we hit the new year.
Yeah, talk about a non-conference gauntlet if there ever was one. The number 6 ranked team at the time in UNC, the number 8th ranked team at the time in Gonzaga, the number 1 ranked team at the time in Louisville, and now the number 10 ranked team in Oregon. 4 top 10 teams before truly getting into the heart of Big Ten play. It's
a pretty difficult schedule.
It's a statement by Juwan Howard. It's saying we're not really afraid. We'll play anyone and everyone, and it's a good statement. Once you beat fear, then the only thing you need to worry about is the opponent in front of you. And Michigan's been doing that, and they've set themselves up really well for March already, and we're not even in the new year yet.
Should be a good one here at Chrysler. A lot of national attention on this game for sure. Juwan Howard get to lose at home.
Yeah, let's hope that streak continues for as long as it possibly can.
And we welcome those of you listening on 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor. This is a WCBN sports broadcast of Michigan basketball. The 5th-ranked Wolverines taking on the 10th-ranked Oregon Ducks. Both teams have 2 losses. Both teams looking to solidify their resumes as we enter conference play. Just about to get started here. Players are all out on the court. 7'1" John Teskey taking the tip. Again, 6'9" Francis Okora. And we are underway here. Chrysler. Teskey wins the tip, and Michigan will start with the basketball.
That might be one of the easiest winning tips I've ever seen.
Isaiah Livers swings it to Brooks. He had about 4 inches on Okora, so no problem winning the tip there.
I don't even think he jumped.
He probably didn't need to. Livers with the ball up top, working against Duarte. Tries to dump it into Teskey, but the ball is deflected.
That was a terrible pass.
Mathis came up with it, working against Franz Wagner, and Peyton Pritchard will set up their offense. Pritchard is everything that Oregon is basketball-wise. He's been there for 4 years now, an excellent scorer, has the ability to take you off the dribble, an excellent shooter, and a great passer. A little floater in the lane here from Pritchard, no good. Michigan comes up with it, and Xavier Simpson will work it back the other way. And what have you seen so far in the season from Michigan as Franz Wagner puts up a 3? That is good. Michigan leads 3-0. What have you seen from Michigan early in this season in terms of pace? That wasn't something they did under John Beilein, but it seems like Juwan Howard really has emphasized pushing the ball.
It makes sense when you have a point guard like Simpson, because Simpson has the great vision that he can see on the run. He's had, like you said, just under 9 assists per game, and the pace, I think, is a big portion of that. Before the defenses can even get ready, Simpson's already made the pass, and a lot of the times we have an open shot.
Good defensive possession from the Wolverines. Down to 5 on the shot clock. Long three-pointer is good for Mathis, and we are tied at 3 here early. Simpson tries a pass, and it's deflected out of bounds by Pritchard. Tried to push it up the court right away. So 18.5 to go in the first half. 3-3.
Yeah, wow, that shot was from far away, but sometimes they go in, I guess.
Both teams hitting a couple threes here early. Teskey gets it from Wagner. Now he'll hand it back to Wagner, and they're going to give an early foul on Duarte, who tried to steal the ball away, but apparently got some of Wagner's arm.
So looks like they're going to be calling a tight game if that one was a foul already. It wasn't much contact, but enough to draw the foul.
A lot of foul calls on Wednesday night when Michigan played at Illinois. Some of them questionable. A tough called game, but Juwan Howard didn't have a whole lot to say about the refs after the game, even though a lot of fans were frustrated as Brooks puts up a floater in the lane. That's no good. Oregon gets that the other way. Pritchard working against Eli Brooks. Swings it outside to Mathis. Mathis puts up another 3. That one's no good. Loose ball, and it's going to stay with Oregon. Wagner and Brooks kind of ran into each other, and it'll stay with Oregon. 20 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah, Howard is smart. He wants to keep his money as much as possible, and avoiding criticizing the refs is a good way to do that.
Mathis, another three-pointer, and he is feeling it early. He's taken 3, made 2 of them. Oregon leads 6-3.
Yeah, that one much better shot than either of the previous 2, and he's rewarded with pretty easy 3 points.
A good look there. Mathis is shooting 51% from 3 on the year, as hot as any player in the country. Wagner tries a reverse layup. That's blocked at the rim. Peyton Pritchard will bring it back the other way.
Questionable decision, especially with Isaiah Livers wide open at the baseline for a 3.
Gets a screen from C.J. Mathis. Pritchard step back, long 2, no good. Long rebound for Brooks. He comes up with it. Michigan will push back the other way. Brooks swings to Simpson. Simpson trying to get into the lane. Kicks to Brooks. Now Brooks will get in the lane. A little floater is good. Eli Brooks cuts the lead down to 1, and he really likes that floater.
He does. If it was pretty much anyone else, I would say, what are you doing with that shot? But with Brooks, I just trust that it's going to go in more times than not, so he can take it as much as he wants.
It wasn't something that was really in his arsenal before this season, but he developed it as well as improving his jump shot, and it's worked out well for him as Oregon is down to 10 on the shot clock. Pritchard into the lane working against Teskey. Tough finish, and that is just a senior guard making an excellent play at the rim.
Yeah, used the shoulder, got Teskey off of him a bit, and ended up with a wide open easy 2.
Livers swings to Simpson, swings to Wagner into the lane. Now Teskey has it down low against Okoro. Teskey airballs a hook shot, no good. Back the other way comes Duarte, working against Brooks.
At least 3 guys around Teskey. I don't really like that shot.
Teskey has been sporadic offensively. He struggled defensively against Illinois, but he needs to be stronger down low if Michigan is going to develop the post offense that they need, especially when the jump shots aren't falling. And a moving screen now on Okora and another kind of ticky-tack call here.
Yeah,
that's too
wow.
early.
I didn't see anything wrong with that personally, particularly in the higher levels of the game. You don't see that called very often with just a little bit of contact like that. And, if that's the way the refs are going to call it, that's fine. Just make sure they do it consistently the whole game.
And Dana Altman is immediately going to go to his bench, get Francis Okoro out of that game, and the freshman Chandler Lawson, their backup big man, is going to come in. Doesn't want to deal with any kind of foul trouble here early, especially with the way this game is being called so far. Livers brings it up. Back to Simpson now. Isaiah Livers working against Mathis. Brooks to Simpson up top. Here's Livers, a long 2. No good. Mathis the rebound back the other way. Simpson picks him up right away. Pritchard swings. Step back 3-pointer for Duarte is good. Another 3-pointer for the Ducks. Their 3rd already, and they lead by 6, 11-5 here.
Yeah, hot shooting start from Oregon beyond the arc. Michigan's been getting a little bit better at putting a hand up, but they need to be even better.
Eli Brooks' 3-pointer is no good, and a good team rebound from the Ducks. Duarte and Mathis both came down with it. Peyton Pritchard back up the other way now, working against Xavier Simpson. Gets a double screen from Walker and Lawson. Now hands off. Duarte into the lane against Isaiah Livers. Tough finish at the rim, and another one for Oregon. Oregon leads 13-5, and Juwan Howard is going to call his first timeout. 15:04 to go in the first half. Oregon leading 13-5, and they just cannot miss from anywhere.
Yeah, some of those shots are not pretty, and they're going in. That's very surprising. Granted, that's not going to happen the entire time, particularly not in Michigan, where you tend to have a friendly home rim, as they call it. But some of these shots, that last one in particular, he had no business making it. He was in the weirdest body position possible, and it got exactly the right angle off the backboard, I guess.
And for Mathis early, he's already hit 2 3-pointers. Duarte also added a 3-pointer. But the stat that's jumping out to me right away is the rebounding. Michigan struggled with rebounding in Champaign against Illinois. They struggled with rebounding when they played Louisville. They've struggled with rebounding in general. And when you've got a 7'1" guy like Teskey, that shouldn't be an issue. But Oregon's 6 rebounds in the first 5 minutes to Michigan's 2.
I don't know if we should call Teskey disappointing because there were definitely a lot of expectations on him going into the season, and I don't believe he's met those yet, and definitely hasn't exceeded them. It's been slightly disappointing for the 7'1" man to not be more physical, not grab more rebounds. He's getting 9 a game, so yeah. I don't know how much we can ask, but it's the games where Michigan is struggling that the rebounding is so key, and those are the games where Teskey just kind of disappears.
Yep. And Teskey struggled defensively as well, and back to the rebounding, Michigan's for about a decade now had guards that rebound the ball really well. Kind of started with Trey Burke, maybe even Darius Morris before him, but Derek Walton kept that going, and Xavier Simpson has been outstanding rebounding the ball. And John Teskey averaging 9 rebounds a game is good, but when you've got a guy like Isaiah Livers, who's 6'7", or Franz Wagner, who's listed at 6'9", and those guys are only getting a couple rebounds a game, that's where your problem comes. And I mean, it feels like the guards rebound better than the forwards for this team with Simpson and DeJulius and Brooks. And then you've got the forwards like Livers and Johns and Franz Wagner, who don't rebound the ball so well.
I'll say Wagner is a very generous 6'9". Just looking at him on the court, particularly next to Teskey. I guess anyone would look a little small next to Teskey.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Maybe it was the Wagner injury that makes him a little bit more cautious to go and jump and go physical and grab that board. But yeah, you're definitely right with that. The guards have seemingly been more physical and more active in getting the rebounds, whereas the forwards are doing what we were always told not to do when we tried to play house basketball. Don't let the ball come to you. Jump up and get it.
Yep.
And the forwards are just trying to let it come to them, and more aggressive teams like the Illinois, Louisvilles, and Oregons are taking advantage of that.
You're not going to rebound the ball well if you try to let it come to you, and that's why Michigan's guards have been so successful as they go up and get the ball and they start fast breaks, and that's been the case for a long time. But the struggles for the rest of the team rebounding have been a real problem, and in a conference like the Big Ten that's so physical, that's a problem that's going to chase this Wolverines team, especially in games where they're not shooting the ball well like they did on Wednesday night in Champaign. Get it going again here. 15:04 to go in the first half. Oregon with a little bit of press here, kind of a 2-2-1 zone, full court. Eli Brooks does make it across half court. Xavier Simpson will set up the offense now. Swings to Livers on the outside, now up top to Simpson. Gets a screen from Teskey. Swings it outside to Brooks. Brooks dribbles in and throws that pass away. Peyton Pritchard comes up with the steal.
Yeah, he got low, saw a bunch of green, and panicked and just kind of looked for the first bit of yellow, missed the green that was in the way.
A bunch of dribble handoffs for the Ducks now as Mathis drives into the lane. Another floater off the glass, and Oregon has a double-digit lead already, 15-5. The Ducks lead, 14:20 to go in the first half.
They have not missed many shots today, that's for sure.
Livers dumps it into Teskey. Teskey working down low, kicks it out to Brooks. Now Simpson, Wagner in the corner. Wagner takes the three. That is no good, off of the side of the rim. Duarte brings it back the other way. Gives to Pritchard. Pritchard working against Xavier Simpson. Hands it off to Walker. Walker up top to Duarte. Duarte gets a screen, puts up a three, and that one is no good. An air ball, and the first really bad-looking three-pointer for the Ducks, and a quick substitution now for Dana Altman. It's going to be Will Richardson, sophomore guard, coming on for Duarte, who just airballed that.
Yeah, that's a fantastic message. If you airball a shot, you're getting subbed out immediately. You're gone.
Quick pull for Dana Altman there. Oregon still leads by 10. Simpson to Brooks, now to Livers. Livers swings it over to Franz Wagner. Xavier Simpson working against Pritchard up top. Gets a screen from Teskey. Now dumps it into the corner to Wagner, but too high. Wagner couldn't come down with it, so it'll be Oregon ball back the other way.
Someone needs to tell the Michigan team, and especially the Michigan Baskets, that this is being played in Ann Arbor, because they're playing like they did on the road, and the Baskets are giving Oregon the good bounces and Michigan the bad ones.
Oregon has scored 9 straight. Michigan hasn't scored in nearly 4 minutes. They hit that opening three, but Oregon has dominated since, 15-2 since that opening three by Wagner. Pritchard swings it, and another foul call, another moving screen call on Oregon.
Wow.
C.J. Walker gets a call on another sub for Dan Altman now. C.J. Walker's going to head to the bench. It's going to be Addison Patterson, another freshman. A lot of freshmen on this Oregon team. They've got 5 freshmen in total on the roster.
I think that's probably why people weren't expecting them to take that next step this year, just because it was a young roster. But they're already top 10, so good for them.
Yep, it's basically Peyton Pritchard and a bunch of inexperienced but really talented players. Oregon has recruited well over the last few years. Ball was the signature name that they got, but guys like C.J. Walker have been highly rated. As Livers takes a three from the corner, no good. Mathis comes up with the rebound. Here comes Peyton Pritchard back the other way.
Michigan's shots getting closer, still just slightly off every time.
Lawson with the screen for Pritchard. He's going to hand it off to Mathis. Mathis working against Brooks. Back to Pritchard. Pritchard drives into the lane against Brooks. Another floater off the glass, no good. Tough rebound by Livers, and another foul call on Peyton Pritchard. Dana Altman is not having any of it. He is livid with that call. And I have to say, Oregon is getting some tough ticky-tack calls here early.
I was almost expecting that foul to be against Michigan
Livers.
with just the position he was in.
Yeah.
It looked like it was set up for over the back, and It was not, and is he getting a technical?
And Dana Altman just got teed up. He is not having any of it. Oregon has already had 4 fouls called on them, none called on Michigan so far. It looks like it'll just be a warning, actually, not a technical foul.
Oof. Usually when ref stops play like that and blows the whistle that many times, it's almost automatically a technical.
Quick swinging passes for the Wolverines as Wagner gets it into the lane. No good off the back rim. Michigan just cannot buy a bucket right now. The scoring drought is up to 5 minutes for the Wolverines. And Xavier Simpson takes it away. He's got Isaiah Livers up ahead. He's going to take it himself. Up and no good. Nearly had the end one. Tough layup attempt for Simpson. So he'll go to the line for a couple of free throws. 12:05 to go in the first half. So the next whistle will take us to the under 12 media timeout. But Michigan needs some points badly, and Xavier Simpson at the line shooting too.
I don't know if they need to adjust the rim, adjust the backboard. What is happening with these bounces on this side? Nothing is going in off a Michigan hand. Maybe this free throw will.
And that's 3 out of 4 games now that they've started really slow offensively. They were fine against Iowa last Friday, but against Illinois on Wednesday and against Louisville last Tuesday, the offense, the shooting, just not there early in the game. And against Illinois and Louisville, it never really showed up. So we'll see at home if they can turn it around offensively, start making some shots. But concerning for Juwan Howard's team as they get going in a Big Ten play here. Both free throws good for Simpson, cuts the lead down to 8. Patterson brings it up for the Ducks. He's working against Xavier Simpson. Hands off to Pritchard now. Duarte. Patterson into the lane. Tough attempt and a foul call on, I think, John Teskey. As we hit the under 12 media timeout, it is on Teskey's first foul on the Wolverines. So 15-7, Oregon leads Michigan. The story in the first few minutes was Oregon's hitting a bunch of threes, but the story overall in the first half is Michigan can't score. They're one of their last 9 field goals. They haven't made a shot in 5:22. What is going on with this Michigan offense?
I'm actually not quite sure because a lot of these shots haven't been that bad.
Yeah.
They're just not falling. And, you know, and for Oregon, a lot of their shots haven't been very good, but they are falling. Sometimes that just happens. It sucks that they're both happening at the same time because it's making Michigan look worse than they are and Oregon better than they are. But as a whole, this isn't panic mode time yet for Michigan, although if they keep missing, it might be very soon.
The applause you hear is for the veteran of the game being honored. Eric Sturgeon is being honored here. Veteran deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. A nice round of applause for him down on the court. Franz Wagner is 1 of 4. Eli Brooks is 1 of 3. Livers is 0 of 2. Simpson has not taken a field goal yet. His first shot attempt, he got fouled on that last fast break. But who does Michigan go to for points? Because all of their guys are just, they can't make, they're all trying these floaters in the lane. Like, what do they need to do to actually get to the rim and go up strong with the basketball?
Honestly, some of theirs can do that already because John Teskey has had chances where all he needs to do is turn around and shoot. And maybe it's a lack of confidence thing. Maybe it's just he sees 2 green jerseys and thinks he can't go up. He's had some chances where all he needs to do is put the ball up and he'll get either fouled or the ball's going to go in because he's that close and it can't miss, honestly. And just go up a little stronger, be a little more confident in the lane, or kick out and have better vision because a lot of them have been missing. They've been going in when there's 4 guys in the middle. Okay, if there's 4 guys in the middle, that means you have 3 guys on the outside that are open. So you have options, and Michigan hasn't exactly been taking them. So we'll see. Hopefully that's what Juwan Howard is saying right now, and they'll come out of this media timeout much better.
An update on the rebounding battle. Oregon leads 9-4. The one thing that's been good for Howard's team is they have not given up a bunch of offensive rebounds, just 1 for the Ducks, but that's also partly because Oregon's shooting the ball so efficiently. They're 54% from the field, 6 of 11, 3 of 5 from behind the arc. Michigan's just 2 of 10 from the field, 1 of 4 from behind the arc.
Yeah, it's tough to give up an offensive rebound if they make everything.
It's going to be Oregon ball underneath. That foul on Teskey before the under 12 timeout was on the floor. Michigan has kept their same 5 in the game for the first 8 minutes here. No subs. Oregon has made a few substitutions. Their current 5 is Richardson, Pritchard, Duarte, Lawson, and Patterson. It'll be Richardson inbounding the ball. Looking for Pritchard, doesn't have him. Finally does get it into Lawson. Lawson works inside against Teskey, and he traveled. Great defense by John Teskey, slid his feet, and Lawson just lost his footing. Michigan ball back the other way.
There we go. Teskey finally using his size for the first time in this game and pulls out a turnover. That's what he needs to do on both sides of the court from now on.
4 turnovers for the Ducks so far. Michigan has turned the ball over 3 times themselves. Xavier Simpson trying to get some offense set up. Eli Brooks has it up top. A lot of standing around from the Wolverines on offense right now. Livers swings it over to Simpson. Simpson drives in, swings it to Wagner, now up top to Brooks. Now Livers in the corner, steps in for a mid-ranger. Another shot in and out of the rim, and it's going to be Oregon ball back the other way as it gets knocked out of bounds on the rebound.
Wow. I don't even know what to say about this shooting day.
David DeJulius is going to check into the game. He's been excellent early in the season for the Wolverines, but hasn't really had his jump shot following either, so maybe they're looking for somebody else to try to get to the rim. It's a tough drive from Richardson goes, and what a finish at the rim with the left hand for Nick Richardson. Extends the lead back up to 10. Wagner in the corner to Livers. Livers in the lane, swings it to Brooks in the corner. Brooks back up top on the elbow to Xavier Simpson. Simpson guarded by Richardson, swings it to Brooks. Brooks going baseline, and a foul call on Peyton Pritchard. That is his second foul of the game, so it'll be interesting to see if Peyton Pritchard needs to head to the bench now, and he will head to the bench. Back into the game is Mathis for Pritchard. So their senior leader's got 2 fouls now with 10 minutes left in the first half.
Yeah, it could be the opening Michigan's needed, because honestly, he's been a great floor general so far. Granted, that shot on the other hand had about a 0-degree arc and still fell in somehow, but you know, hopefully Michigan can take advantage of it.
Simpson drives baseline. Tough layup, no good. Lawson comes up with the rebound. Patterson now working against Franz Wagner the other way. Corner, Mathis drives in against DeJulius, swings it to Duarte. Duarte drives in against Livers now. Livers, great defense, but another tough finish by Duarte, and then a foul.
On the floor.
Yep, on the floor by Franz Wagner.
Wow.
So the basket counts.
Can they switch sides? Can you do that early? Because this rim that Michigan's shooting at is not allowing a single basket, whereas the rim that Oregon's shooting at is getting every lucky bounce in the history of mankind.
Every single roll. So the shot is good and the ball stays with Oregon. Oregon leads 19-7 here. Great finish by Duarte, following up a great finish by Richardson the last time down for the Ducks. So Oregon gets another possession here. Patterson swings it to Richardson. Richardson working against Wagner. Richardson drives in, has to pick up his dribble. Gives it to Lawson, but dumped away. Now Lawson one-on-one with Teskey, drives in, kicks out. Mathis 3 is good, right at the buzzer for the shot clock, and the lead is extended to 15 for the Ducks. 9:45 to go in the first half, 22-17 Oregon. Wagner, open three-pointer there, no good. Michigan still cannot buy a field goal. They're one of their last 12 now. Cutting the lane now, wide open is Duarte for 3 in the corner. He airballs that one, his second airball of the game. Wagner ahead to DeJulius, pushing up the floor. DeJulius to the rim, tough finish, that goes. Michigan finally answers back, cuts the lead down to 13. This crowd is looking for a reason to explode. The Wolverines just haven't given them 1-2 yet. Richardson pull-up jumper, no good. Livers comes up with the rebound.
Maybe this is a turnaround. Michigan making one and Oregon missing 2 in a row.
Simpson to DeJulius in the corner. DeJulius for 3, no good, in and out. Long rebound, finally brought by Duarte. Tough finish at the rim, no good. Rolled out. Diving for it is Isaiah Livers. Xavier Simpson comes up with it off the tip.
This crowd appreciates that diving effort.
Pace of play picking up here. Isaiah Livers for 3, no good. Long rebound by Wagner. DeJulius has it. Xavier Simpson for 3, no good again, and they just cannot hit one. 1 of 8 from behind the arc are the Wolverines. Nothing falling for them.
And I just heard the first boos by the home crowd after that miss. Not common, but the first.
Just frustrated crowd. They have seen the Wolverines miss a lot of shots over the last 4 games and can't get anything to go right now. We're ticking down to 8 minutes. Richardson drives into the lane. Now dumps it back out to Duarte on the left wing. Long three-pointer on his 3rd air ball of the game. Duarte is fighting his shot a little bit. He's 1 of 4 from behind the arc, but 7:59 to go in the first half. Michigan is trailing by 13, 22-9. Oregon leads. Michigan is a whopping 3 of 17 from the field, 1 of 8 from behind the arc. I mean, this is just absurd to watch.
This is one of those games where when the coach of the losing team has the press conference afterwards, they just go, "We had a bad game, they had a good one," and you're like, yeah, there's way more to the story than that, but that's what you're forced to say because that's the political answer. But then it's one of those games where that's actually the entire story. It's a bad shooting game for Michigan and a great shooting game for apparently everyone but Duarte on Oregon. Duarte, how do you have 3 air balls when your team just can't miss?
That's a pretty bad look. The one dude with 3 air balls, but I mean for Michigan it's everybody. Isaiah Livers is 0 of 4 from the field. Franz Wagner is 1 of 5 from the field. Nobody can make anything. And then Oregon's 4 of 7 from 3, 9 of 17 overall. Michigan is actually rebounding the ball fairly well over the last few minutes. The rebounding battle is now 14 for Oregon, 8 for the Wolverines. Oregon's turned the ball over 5 times. Michigan's turned the ball over 3 times, but Michigan hasn't turned those 5 turnovers into anything. They've only gotten 2 fast break points. I mean, what are you telling your team right now if you're Juwan Howard? Like, the shots have to start falling at some point, right?
That's what you tell them. You tell them that you guys aren't actually playing poorly, and the other team isn't playing that amazing either.
Yeah.
Their shots are just falling and yours aren't. At some point, statistics say that those are going to switch. You know, just as a numbers guy, that's going to happen. Oregon's going to start missing more. Duarte's already started. Michigan's going to start making more. I don't know when it's going to be, considering they're still in single digits 12 minutes into the game. It's looking eerily similar to that Louisville game. One difference being there's maize and blue all around the court rather than red.
Yep. And after the Illinois game, people started to rationalize that maybe this team's shooting just doesn't translate on the road, but this performance at home, which is by far their worst performance at home through half of a half so far, might show that this team might just be sporadic shooting, and they've really struggled to generate any good looks at the rim offensively. A lot of contested shots, and then the open threes that they're getting just aren't being made. And give credit to Oregon defensively, because Oregon is doing a great job. They're winding the shot clock down early with the full court press and then rotating really well defensively. But at some point, somebody needs to step up and make some shots for Michigan.
But there also haven't been many 2-point shots where you look at and go, that was a good shot. They've been taking a lot of floaters, long twos, a lot of open threes, but threes are hard to make no matter who you are. Unless you're like Steph Curry or James Harden or something. But that's not what's happening here. We're in college basketball, and you got to get closer to the rim, and Michigan hasn't really gotten a good shot close to the rim yet.
A bunch of substitutes actually for Juwan Howard, almost an entirely new 5. David DeJulius will stay out there, but he is joined now by Eli Brooks, Brandon Johns, Adrian Nunez, Colin Castleton. So Howard going to the bench looking for something. The press continues for Oregon. Richardson knocks pass right out of bounds. For the Ducks, it's Richardson. Peyton Pritchard back in the game with 2 fouls, so that's something to watch. Walker, Mathis, and Okoro is back into the game. Brooks works it across half court with the pass to Julius. Now Eli Brooks will set up the offense. 7:45 to go here in this first half. Michigan leads by 13. DeJulius to Brandon Johns. Johns gives to Eli Brooks. Brooks into the lane, dumps it down to Johns. 1 on the shot clock, gets it up right at the end. No good, tough look. Castleton had a chance at the offensive board but couldn't come up with it. You are listening to WCBN Sports broadcast of Michigan men's basketball. I'm Evan Osterley alongside Akshay Luthra. It'll be Alex Drain and Daniel Thompson in the second half. As Mathis puts up a 3 for the Ducks, and Mathis hits his 4th three-pointer of the game. Oregon has their largest lead of the game with 16, 25-9 here at the 7-minute mark of the first half. Nunez travels on the baseline. Okoro jumps hard at the pump fake, so another turnover for the Wolverines. That's turnover number 4 for them. Oregon ball back the other way.
Crowd starting to get frustrated. Hearing more yells from this end.
Richardson bringing it up. Gives to Mathis. Pritchard to Walker on the left elbow now, working against Brandon Johns. Three-pointer from Mathis, no good. And a foul call on CJ Walker, so it's going to be a 1-and-1, I believe, for the Wolverines. That's foul number 7. Brandon Johns will shoot a 1-and-1.
That's one thing that Michigan's been absolutely dominating in. 7 fouls for Oregon, only 2 for Michigan.
And Walker will head to the bench with his second foul. Chandler Lawson back into the game for the Ducks.
It's a good strategy. If you can't hit anything from the field, just go to the line again and again.
Yep. And a long way to go in this first half. 6:36 to go, and Michigan already in the bonus, so probably a lot of free throws coming out. John's first free throw is good. Michigan finally in double digits, and only took them 13 minutes and 24 seconds to reach that point.
Yeah, a bit of a sarcastic cheer by some members here once they hit double digits.
John's second free throw is also good, so the lead is down to 14. Pritchard up to Richardson, working against Adrian Nunez. Richardson into the lane. Gets a good look, and Brandon Johns just not close enough. Richardson got the switch he wanted, made the easy layup. He's got 4.
Neither Johns Jr. nor Nunez looked like they actually wanted to play defense on that one.
Brooks swings to Nunez, back to Brooks, now to Julius. Tries to go baseline, cannot. Julius will reset with 15 on the shot clock. Dumps it to Castleton against Okoro. Colin Castleton gets doubled. Up top, Nunez, three-pointer, no good. Tough rebound by Brandon Johns. Swings it out to the corner for DeJulius for 3. That is good, and this crowd finally gets the three-pointer they've been waiting for. David DeJulius with a big shot for the Wolverines. Cuts the lead down to 13. Here comes the crowd.
This crowd has wanted to explode for so long. They've finally given the opportunity.
Oregon trying to respond. Mathis going to have to reset to Pritchard. 10 on the shot clock now. Pritchard into the lane. Good pass right through the hands of Okoro. Turnover back the other way for Michigan, and maybe a chance to get some momentum here. Xavier Simpson is going to check back in for Adrian Nunez. Duarte is going to check in for Peyton Pritchard. And Patterson is going to check in for Mathis.
Boy, this crowd was waiting for something, and now they were given a 3 and a turnover in back-to-back possessions. This is what the crowd needs to get into it, and if the crowd can get into it, maybe Michigan can get into it.
Just need to hit a couple shots, and this crowd is going to go wild. DeJulius, another three-pointer on the elbow, no good. Duarte brings it back the other way after the Lawson rebound. Quick screen, Duarte working against DeJulius up top. Richardson swings back to Duarte. Dumps it down low to Okora. Oh, Johns came over on the help, and they're going to call the foul, I believe, on him, although it might be on Colin Castleton. It is on Colin Castleton. Not sure what exactly the foul was there.
Yeah, Johns Jr. coming in to help.
Johns got the block.
Great block. And
Castleton looked like he was playing great defense.
And there are the boos.
Okoro's free throw is good. Oregon leads 28-14, 5:04 to go in the first half.
I don't know if you heard when Duarte had the ball, this crowd started cheering air ball.
He has 3 of them. Okoro's second free throw is no good. Lane violation on Colin Castleton.
Oh, that's a bad passage of play for Castleton.
Okoro will get another attempt at the second free throw. And Okoro's makeup attempt is good. So he made one, missed one, but a lane violation on the second gives him another chance, and he ends up making both. 29-14 now, Oregon leads. Those were Okoro's first 2 points. Eli Brooks working on the right wing, up top to Castleton. Johns comes and gets it now. Johns swings it across the court to DeJulius. DeJulius up top, gets a screen from Castleton into the lane, a little floater. That's good. David DeJulius has been the Wolverines' best source of offense. He's got 7, 3 of 5 from the field. Lead back down to 13 as we hit the 4.5 mark here in the first half. And a double dribble this time on Duarte.
I don't know if I've ever seen that call ever in any college basketball game I've watched.
Turnover number 7 for the Ducks. A lot of turnovers, a lot of fouls for Oregon. You can only imagine what this game would be like if Michigan was having any success shooting the basketball.
Yeah, when you're winning the turnover battle and the foul battle, you tend to not lose, but I guess it's the shooting battle is the only one that really matters in the end.
Simpson swings it to DeJulius. Now Livers brings it around back up top. Xavier Simpson working on the left elbow against Duarte. Simpson swings it to Brooks. Now to DeJulius in the corner for 3. David DeJulius is fouled on the three-point attempt. It went in and out, but 3 free throws coming up for David DeJulius here. And he's kind of the only one that appears to want to score the basketball, but they might as well go to him every time at this point.
My favorite part was Okoro put his hands up like, what did I do? You tackled the man. That's a foul in any sport.
DeJulius got knocked back into the first row there out of the corner 3 position. So 3 free throw attempts for DeJulius. The first one is good. Peyton Pritchard checking back into the game here momentarily. Okoro got his second foul of the game on that. DeJulius' second free throw attempt is no good, in and out. So Oregon going a little smaller here as they take their big man Okoro out, and Peyton Pritchard, the senior guard, comes back into the game. So DeJulius will take the third attempt, split the first 2. DeJulius' third attempt is good. Lead down to 11. Michigan on a little bit of a run right here, trying to cut into this.
Yeah, it seems like DeJulius was the spark Michigan needed. He has half the Michigan points right now.
DeJulius has 9. Michigan has 18. Oregon has 29. Richardson into the lane against Johns. Great defense. Nearly another great finish by Richardson. Rebound back the other way. Xavier Simpson, 2 Livers in the corner. Thought about it, pulled it back. Now dumps to Johns in the middle. Isaiah Livers just trying to get himself a bucket, but he's being swarmed by defenders. Xavier Simpson, good drive to the rim, and a reverse layup is good. It's back down to single digits. 9-point game. Here comes the crowd for the Wolverines.
That's the first 2-point shot where I was like, that was a good shot. And there, that crowd is loud.
This crowd is excited. It's cut down to single digits for the first time in a while as we tick down to 3 minutes in the first half. Simpson trying to guard Peyton Pritchard. Pritchard into the lane. Going to have to kick it out to Patterson. Patterson, a tough drive, tough finish, no good. Rebound, Lawson, knocked off Lawson, and it's going to be Michigan basketball back the other way. This crowd is loving it. A great sequence for the Wolverines. They're on a 6-0 run. Oregon hasn't scored in 2 minutes. And finally some momentum for the Wolverines. We're at the under 4 immediate timeout. Oregon leads 29-20, 3:06 to go, but finally some life from the Wolverines.
And it was DeJulius again on the defensive end this time. After Oregon grabs the offensive rebound, DeJulius just swipes it out of his hand, off the Oregon leg, gets a bit of luck, but honestly Michigan deserves a bit of luck after that shot. Ridiculous shot with great defense for Oregon, almost went in again.
David DeJulius, 9 points for the Wolverines. The rest of the team combined has 11, but Juwan Howard went to his bench, finally got a spark, finally got some offense going. The Wolverines still just 6 of 23 from the field. They're shooting 26% from the field, 2 of 11 from behind the arc. That's 18%. Oregon on the other side, 11 of 23 from the field, 5 of 9 from behind the arc. Oregon leads the rebounding battle 18-11, but they do have 8 turnovers to Michigan's 4 and 8 fouls to Michigan's 3. So things kind of starting to balance out here in the box score. If Michigan can make some more shots, things will start to balance out on the actual score as well.
Yeah, like we said, statistically Michigan, with all their good shooter that they have, they couldn't have been that bad for the entire game, right? And it looks like DeJulius has started a spark. Hopefully Michigan can turn that into a fire and just catch up. The deficit is only single digits for the first time in a while. I don't even remember the last time that Michigan was only single digits. So this is an opportunity. They're going to have the ball coming out of this timeout. If they can score, get ready for this crowd to explode.
Yep. And really, I mean, these last 3 minutes are huge because if Michigan can cut it down to like a 2-possession game, like a 5-6 point game going into halftime after the way they shot the ball in this first half, the momentum would be huge. And Oregon, who's gotten a lot of tough shots to fall, gotten a lot of contested 3-pointers to fall, to go into the half after the way that they played for the first 10 minutes in a single-digit game would be really frustrating. So really important for both coaches here. Dana Altman going to try to snap this Michigan spurt, get the crowd back out of it. But that crowd, the entire building was on their feet after that last reverse layup by Xavier Simpson and then a turnover by Oregon. So we're a couple more shots away from this really exploding here.
Yeah, you hate to say moral victory because everyone hates those words combined together, except I think I agree with you. If it's a 2-possession game going into halftime, I don't know if that's a moral victory, but that's just a victory for Michigan. Yeah. When you're down 16 and you can get it down to like 5 points going into the half, that's all momentum is on your side, and now Oregon is the team panicking even though they have the lead, and that's where you want to be.
And with the gameplay, it's never felt like a 16-point game or a blowout. It's just Oregon's made a lot of tough shots, and Michigan hasn't made almost any tough shots. And so Michigan ball back the other way now out of the under 4 timeout. 3:06 to go in the first half. Oregon leads 29-20. And this has kind of turned into a long first half. It's closing in on 1 o'clock p.m. A bunch of foul calls, especially on Oregon, have extended the length of the half.
Yeah, that was a good point you made, though, where even though it was 16 points, so theoretically that's a blowout, it never felt like it was a blowout. It never felt like Oregon was playing that much better than Michigan. It just, the shots weren't falling for Michigan, and they were for Oregon.
Brooks, Livers, Simpson, DeJulius, and Johns for the Wolverines. Patterson, Mathis, Richardson, Duarte, and Lawson for Oregon. Michigan finally gets the ball across half court. Livers thought about taking 3 off the feed from Brooks, and now Simpson will reset the offense. 15 on the shot clock. Simpson working against Richardson. Simpson into the lane, kicks it out to DeJulius. DeJulius attempts a 3-pointer, no good. Johns tips it up. Simpson went up for it. It's going to stay with the Wolverines, and they're fighting. They're fighting on the offensive glass. They clearly want this, and they've fought their way back into this game.
Yeah, Simpson did a good job to not take that layup because that would have been a horrible shot. Passed it, and eventually he ends up sort of getting an offensive rebound, gets it tipped out of his hand out of bounds. So I'll give him credit for that one.
Simpson kicks it out to Livers. Livers drives baseline. Livers went for the big slam, unable to finish it. It's going to stay with Michigan again as Mathis came up with it and just dropped it out of bounds. Isaiah Livers tried to posterize Lawson, but just couldn't keep his hands on the ball as he went up for a huge dunk attempt.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to go for the dunk because the layup was going to be really easy too. And now looking back on it, he very much should not have gone for the dunk, but that would have been the most exciting moment ever.
It was one of those things where you're like, no. Oh, my God, he did it.
Except he missed.
Yeah. Brooks dumps it down to Johns, working against Duarte. Double team comes, and it's going to be a foul on Isaiah Livers. Mathis came up with the ball. Good double team by Oregon on Brandon Johns as soon as he caught the ball down low. Oregon has tended to double any Michigan bigs down low. They got the ball. Peyton Pritchard's going to check back in now. Unclear who he's checking in for. Oh, it's going to be for Patterson, who is standing next to Dana Altman, ready to inbound the ball. So Pritchard is back into the game. 2:17 to go now. Long possession for Michigan. Ends up with no points. They had 3 chances there. Richardson to Duarte, working against Eli Brooks on the left wing. Good defense from Brooks. Brooks dives, gets it up to Xavier Simpson. 3-on-1 for the Wolverines. Simpson lobs it up for Johns, and he missed the dunk on the alley-oop. Brandon Johns just couldn't finish the dunk. Quick swing over to DeJulius for 3 on the wing. Now David DeJulius hits the 3, cuts it down to 6. Timeout, Dana Altman right away. What a sequence. It starts with the turnover. Eli Brooks dives on the ground, flips it up to Xavier Simpson, who lobs it to Brandon Johns, misses the dunk on the alley-oop, and then Xavier Simpson comes up with it, kicks it out to David Julius, and David DeJulius hits his second 3 of the game. He's got 12. We've got a 6-point game.
As upsetting as that missed dunk was, 3 points is more than 2, and every person in this crowd is holding their 3-point signs up. I think they're okay with the missed dunk if that's the way the possession's going to end.
That's how they drew it up.
That's
right?
exactly how they drew it up.
To the 3-pointer.
A little low of a lob over a guy who completely misses a dunk for the second consecutive possession. Then it just happens to bounce out to a guy who's been the spark in this game and hits another 3. That's if I was Juwan Howard, that's the play. I would call it the misdirect alley-oop.
So Isaiah Livers misses a dunk driving baseline, and then Brandon Johns misses a dunk on the alley-oop within 1 minute of each other. It'll be Oregon ball back the other way. A 6-point game here, 29-23. Michigan is on a 9-0 run in just under 3 minutes. Oregon hasn't scored in almost 3.5 minutes. Crowd is definitely into this one. Pritchard working against Simpson. Pritchard gets a screen from Lawson into the lane. Good help defense there by Johns. Richardson has it up top against DeJulius. Shot clock down to 10. Pritchard gonna get another screen from Lawson. More good defense from Johns. Pritchard, tough drive, no good on the reverse layup. Livers comes up with it. Lobs deep down the floor to DeJulius. DeJulius gonna pull it back out though. Up to Livers up top. Thought about a three. Inside to Johnson, another missed dunk. The third missed dunk in under 2 minutes for the Wolverines. Livers with a great find. Johns just couldn't put the ball into the basket.
So what we learned in Michigan should never take a dunk ever again.
What a brutal sequence of dunk attempts for Isaiah Livers and Brandon Johns. We're under a minute now in the first half. Richardson working against Brooks.
Johns Jr. missed 2 dunks in a row, man. That's a bad day.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. Pritchard, a step back three-pointer is good. Peyton Pritchard, what an answer for the Ducks. Extends the lead back to 9. His first three-pointer of the game, just second made field goal.
I think they're calling it a 2.
Oh, they did call it a 2-pointer, so it's an 8-point game. Simpson swings it to Livers. Livers into the lane, lays it up, no good. And Oregon will hold for the last shot now. 20 seconds on the game clock. Shot clock is off. Oregon leads 31-23. Peyton Pritchard, a chance to extend this back to double digits before halftime. Dana Altman calling out a play from the sideline. Juwan Howard responding with defensive instructions for his team. 5 on the clock now. Pritchard with 4. 3 on the clock. Pritchard with 2 on the clock. Pritchard a contested three-pointer. No good. And so we hit halftime. Oregon leads 31-23. Michigan was down by as much as 16, but got a big spurt from David DeJulius off the bench. DeJulius has 12 points on 4 of 7 from the field, 2 of 5 from behind the arc. For Oregon, it's been Anthony Mathis who's got 12 points, all coming on three-pointers, 4 of 6 from behind the arc. He's also added 4 rebounds. But finally some life at the end of the half, those last 6 minutes really for the Wolverines.
A little too much life when you look at the 3 missed dunks. I've never seen 3 missed dunks at this level or above ever in a row. It wasn't like 3 missed dunks in the game and they had like 7 in between. No, they had 3 missed dunks in a row on like back-to-back-to-back possessions. How does that happen?
It's unbelievable. It started with Isaiah Livers drove baseline and tried to posterize Francis Okoro. That didn't work. And then Xavier Simpson lobbed it to Brandon Johns on a fast break. That didn't work on the alley-oop attempt. And then Isaiah Livers, who had a long three-point attempt that was open, decided to find Brandon Johns wide open underneath. And what should have been an easy finish turned into another missed dunk. And so, interesting conversation for Juwan Howard to have with his pair of athletic big men. I mean, Isaiah Livers and Brandon Johns can both get up, but you've got to put the ball into the basket.
Yeah, that's normally the dunk is the highest percentage shot, so I see why they would go for the dunk. If I was tall enough to dunk, I would do it too.
Of course.
But wow, I've never seen that. Like, I'm going to say that again and again. That was embarrassing in a way, but just shocking more than anything.
And Michigan needs some high percentage shots because they're shooting 24% from the field, 23% from behind the arc. Just an ugly offensive first half for the Wolverines, but finally starting to get something going. Mostly David DeJulius starting to get something going for the Wolverines. Aside from DeJulius, it's been pretty much non-existent offensively. Xavier Simpson has 4 points, 1 of 3 from the field. Also got a pair of assists. Isaiah Livers, brutal first half. He's 0 of 6 from the field, 0 of 2 from behind the arc. He does have 4 rebounds, but just cannot buy a shot. John Teskey, almost non-existent. He played 12 minutes, but only took 1 shot attempt. It was that missed hook shot. He's got 1 rebound in 12 minutes, does John Teskey. Franz Wagner hit the opening 3 for the Wolverines. He missed his next 4 shots of the first half. Eli Brooks, just 2 points. Just all around not great from the Wolverines. And then for Oregon, a little bit more balance behind Mathis with his 12. Duarte has 7 along with 3 air balls. Pritchard has 4 points. He has struggled from the field, though, just 2 of 7. So they've done a good job of containing Peyton Pritchard. But Richardson adding 4, 2 really tough layups. And early in the game, the story was Oregon just can't miss. They were taking really acrobatic, contested layups at the rim. Everything was going in. And then they finally started not getting those rolls, and Michigan got back into the game.
I think my question to you is, would you rather have 3 air balls from 3 or 3 missed dunks?
3 air balls from 3.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Because you can justify like missing a 3-point shot, and a couple of them were just bad contested shots that he shouldn't have been taking. One was at the end of the shot clock. But the missed dunks are like into the first one when Isaiah Livers went baseline, just put the ball off the backboard. It's just an easy layup.
I wasn't even expecting him to go for the dunk on the first one. I don't really know why he went for the dunk on the first one.
He's kind of started doing that this season where like he is athletic and he can get up, but he tends to lose the ball when he does it. And he's tried it, I would say, like once every other game, and it just hasn't worked out well for him.
For Johns Jr.'s 2 dunks, the first one, the lob, the pass was a little low, so I'll give him credit, I guess. The second one, wide open, fantastic pass by Livers. One of the best pieces of vision you've seen all day, because Simpson's had a bit of an off day assist-wise. And he goes up. You're expecting an easy 2. It's a 4-point game. The crowd would have exploded. And all of a sudden, another missed dunk. Oregon goes back, hits a 3, and Oregon gets the momentum turning back towards their end a little bit as they go into the halftime locker room.
We've got a baby moose race going on the floor. It was won easily by one baby that just took off and absolutely blazed down the court. Nobody else was at midcourt by the time they made it to the other end, and then you've got a couple stragglers who are...
Well, one just took off in the wrong direction, and one held on to the leg of the volunteer and just did not move at all.
They have finally... Oh, we got one more. It was actually the winner that made it all the way down and then took off in the other direction. They've all finally made it to the other end.
She just got bored. She was like, "I've been waiting here so long. Let me beat him on the other way."
I mean,
too.
that was crazy. That was an absolute blowout.
Yeah, that's basically how Oregon started, and that was the perfect metaphor for this game. It was Oregon
shot out of the gate,
and the rest of Michigan going, "Wait for me," and then the kid that didn't move was Michigan dunking. That was what that was.
Oh, just brutal missed dunks. Brandon Johns, athletic player, he hasn't really seemed to find himself offensively yet. He's a good rebounder. He's been solid defensively, but just hasn't really hit any kind of groove offensively. His jumper is not all that efficient. Missing dunks, apparently. He struggled finishing at the rim. He does have 2 free throws today for his 2 points, but just a tough half offensively for the Wolverines, but they go in down single digits. A lot to work with. We're probably going to see a lot of David DeJulius in the second half, so this game is far from over, and Michigan, for shooting the ball 24% from the field, 23% from behind the arc, has to be pleased with where this game is at right now.
Yeah, honestly, when you're shooting less than 25%, you should be getting blown out, and they're not. And a big reason for that is David DeJulius, but when any one player has more than half the team's points, that's either really good or really bad. Unfortunately, in this case, it's really bad, and this isn't a Wilt Chamberlain situation or a James Harden situation. But, yeah, so hopefully DeJulius is seen a little bit more in the second half, since he's the only one in any sort of shooting groove whatsoever.
At 3:30, about an hour and a half after this one ends, Michigan women's basketball will be playing Atlantis State. We will have that one for you, youtube.com/WCBN Sports. For Michigan, after this one, they've got 2 home games coming up before they get into full-fledged Big Ten play at the turn of the new year. It'll be a home game on December 21st at noon against Presbyterian, and then a home game on December 29th at 2 p.m. against UMass Lowell. We will have both of those for you. And then they go to Michigan State, the big showdown with the Spartans in East Lansing. That one is on January 5th. Time is to be determined for that one.
You can't handle the truth. You can't handle
But
the screen showing the most hilarious impressions of the team and famous movie lines.
Do we become best friends? Yeah.
this is some pretty great content.
Nunez and Castleton have so far had the best. Oh, Luke Wilson with the best Darth Vader I've ever heard.
This is just outstanding content from the Wolverines. Thank you again for listening to this broadcast of Michigan men's basketball on 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor. For Akshay Luthra, I'm Evan Osterley. Alex Drain and Daniel Thompson are going to take over for the second half. Akshay, your closing thoughts.
I think it's obviously clearly been a rough half for Michigan. It won't stay that way. I think DeJulius gave them a spark. They won't keep missing dunks. 3 missed dunks is ridiculous. That won't keep happening. Their defense is getting better. Their rebounding is getting better. If there's any opportunity for Michigan to come back, it's this game. And if there's any opportunity for Michigan to have hope, it's this game. I think Michigan has a really good chance, even though they are down 8 going into the second half. And with that, welcome to Alex Drain.
Yep, thank you for that introduction. It'll be myself and Daniel Thompson here in the second half between Michigan and Oregon here on WCBN Sports and 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor. Our score at halftime, about 6.5 minutes until the second half resumes, is Oregon 31, Michigan 23. And Daniel, as you jump on this broadcast, what did you see there in the first half?
It's all about shooting in this half. I mean, Michigan played solid defense. 31, in one half is on pace to give up 62, which is quite good against the top 10 team. But Michigan played better defense than that even. I mean, Oregon, they actually missed a couple of open looks, so it goes both ways. The Oregon's 5 for 10 from 3 right now, and 4 of those 5 shots were horrible, horrible looks. I'd give them D- or F looks.
Yeah.
And they still were falling. Peyton Pritchard has also airballed a couple of open three-pointers, but ultimately, I think Oregon has benefited from some favorable shooting that will not keep up throughout the whole game, although we're halfway through it, and maybe they could get lucky. But
well, and I mean, you did see some regression there in the second half of the first half, where Oregon got up to 22, in like 8 minutes to go, and then only scored 9 the rest of the way. In that first half, the big standout, Oregon shooting 5 of 10 from beyond the arc, Michigan 1% from 3 entering this game, and he is built on that with a staggering 4 for 6 performance from beyond the arc in the first half, and he accounts for 4 of Oregon's 5 triples.
And yeah, you can't be upset that Oregon shot the 3 well against you, no matter who you are. The fact that it's a home game for Michigan, Oregon is going to be able to shoot pretty well. But with the defense Michigan has played, they've really taken away. They should have taken away that shot from Mathis. They're just going in either way, whether it be a desperation shot with half a second left on the shot clock or 5 feet behind the three-point line and a hand in his face. They're still going down. Meanwhile, Michigan, they missed 3 dunks in 2 minutes. I mean, that's remarkable. They're 24.1 from the field.
They were only down 6 with about a minute to go, and it looked like Brandon Johns had an easy dunk to pull Michigan within 4. He missed that. Then Oregon goes down, gets a really tough bucket late in the shot clock, and then it's a 4-point swing. This could be a little bit closer at halftime, too.
It was a 1-point swing. His first missed dunk on the alley-oop that ended up being rebounded by Michigan and resulted in a David DeJulius 3, but...
Well, and it definitely seemed like Michigan was too eager to try and tomahawk some of these dunks.
Oh, yeah.
Where,
the way the crowd was going, because, those dunks came right when Michigan was getting back into this game.
They were on a 9-0 run at that point.
I'm quite impressed with the turnout here. I knew that the local Michigan fans were probably going to turn up for a top 10 matchup, but the students, a good portion of them are gone, out-of-staters, not coming back for this one.
Yeah.
It's still final season. Some might be studying for final still, but they did a great job coming out for this game, and it was extremely quiet here most of the game. Then David DeJulius found the remote, hit the mute button, and turned the volume back on here, and things got loud real quick. Well, and that might have inspired some reckless tomahawk dunks.
If you look at DeJulius, he's got 12 points. The team has 23 as the players come back out onto the court. DeJulius 4 of 7 from the field. If you take away that 4 of 7, the rest of the Michigan team shot 3 of 22. And if you look at the 3-ball numbers, DeJulius made 2 of Michigan's 3 made 3-pointers in that first half, and the only other one that wasn't by DeJulius was Franz Wagner, and that was on the first possession of the game. So they really went a long stretch without anything until finally DeJulius put a little bit of life back in the team, but you're going to need to see those starters, Livers, Brooks, Simpson, play better here in the second half. Livers 0 points on 0 of 6 from the field.
Absolutely. Livers, he also had one of the missed tomahawk dunks, but weird half for him, and you expect him to be more productive. I expect that to progress to the mean here in the second half. I don't think the rest of the team's going to shoot 3 for 22 or anything like that again. I mean, the fact that David DeJulius has over half the team's points speaks volumes. And this is a good free throw shooting performance, too, for Michigan. They did get help from the officials and Oregon themselves in the sense that Oregon committed a ton of fouls right out the gate, and Michigan spent a good portion of the first half in the bonus, shot 6 for 7 on free throws, with DeJulius missing 1 in a free throw trip to the line following a 3-point attempt. So ultimately, Michigan, this could be a lot worse if not for the free throws.
Well,
but
Michigan did well to force turnovers in that first half. Oregon with 9 turnovers to Michigan's 5. So Michigan was winning that aspect of the game. And I mean, you think about the shots that Michigan missed. When you see a team shooting 24% from the field, they missed a lot of open looks.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a half that really could have gone a lot better. I mean, if you hide the scoreboard on the broadcast, I think most fans kind of lose track of what the score actually was going into the half. It feels like a really tight game between these teams. 8 is not a horrible deficit at the half, but it definitely feels like Michigan played a little bit better than to be down 8 at home here.
I mean, it's pretty fortunate to only be down 8 when you shoot 24% from the field.
Oh, yeah,
in general.
absolutely. But no, the way the defense played, despite Oregon's shooting, kept them in it. The way they possessed the ball, didn't turn it over, and were able to get some rebounds following some atrocious misses, really kept them in it. I will say also, I mean, John Teske, what were his minutes in that first half? It was
Teske played 12 minutes.
I mean, he's a guy who was National Player of the Week during the battle for Atlantis.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what Juwan Howard saw there. Really, no one on Michigan's in foul trouble.
Well, I mean, the thing for Teske was that you look at Oregon and the way they're scoring, they don't go through their big men much at all. Francis Okoro just 2 points in that first half, and N'Faly Dante did not play at all. They don't play a lot of centers. You look at their scoring line, Mathis with 12 points is 6'4", Duarte with 7 is 6'6", and Richardson and Pritchard are both 6'5" and under. So the big's not a big factor for the Ducks.
Great job rebounding. There was a one unrelated to the missed dunks, but he had one amazing board where he kicked out to DeJulius, who hit a 3 and cut the deficit to 9, I believe, at the time. And that really got the crowd back in here at Chrysler Center.
Well, and the horn has just sounded, which means the teams will be ready to go. Oregon will start with the ball to begin the second half. Michigan won the opening tip-off, and that was it. No held balls in that first half. 31-23, Ducks is the score. Oregon shot 46% from the field in the first half, 50% from 3, and 100% just 2 of 2 from the line. Foul trouble could become a factor for Oregon, though. 3 players with 2 fouls in that first half. Peyton Pritchard, their star, as well as C.J. Walker and Francis Okoro all accumulated 2 fouls. That's something to watch, especially for Pritchard.
And this is an interesting matchup, as Peyton Pritchard and Xavier Simpson are 2 of the most senior players in college basketball.
Yes. They both played over 120 career games as we are now underway. To start the second half, Oregon 31, Michigan 23. Michigan playing a little bit of zone as we get started. They've got Simpson and Brooks and sort of on the outside of it, more of a 2-3 zone look, shifting Livers to the wing. Oregon just passing it around, already down to 12 on the shot clock, and they haven't penetrated inside the arc at all, just flipping it back and forth. Mathis has got it outside from 3. He pulls up from distance. That one off the mark, tipped into the corner, though. Oregon grabs the offensive rebound. They'll get another look. Shot clock reset to 20. Pritchard across, Mathis into the corner. Open 3, and it's blocked, but they're going to call a foul. That foul looks like it will go against John Teske, as Duarte was pulling up for 3 in the corner, I think, unless he had a foot on the stripe. Yep. He didn't make a lot of contact there, at least.
No, that's
like
gonna be a what-if possession again for Michigan on the defense.
Yeah.
Failed to box out, and then Teske narrowly fouling.
Duarte hits the first.
So Michigan will probably be down double digits when they get the ball back for the first time this half. It's going to be an uphill battle. Everyone knew that going into it, but not going to get any easier off the first possession.
And he makes the second, so now 33-23. One more coming, and that right there was really an NBA look for Duarte in which, he's falling backwards as he shoots the 3, which is sort of the modern way to shoot the 3, where you sort of exaggerate any contact because your natural body motion is falling backwards. He makes all 3, so it's back to an 11-point Oregon advantage, and now Michigan has got some work to do to claw out of this hole. Simpson brings the ball up, and Oregon going with a bit of their zone as well. They start in sort of a 1-2-2 press that then falls into the 2-3 before turning into just straight up man. Teskey fires way across the court to Brooks in the corner, out to Simpson at distance. He dribbles inside the arc, kicks it out. Livers open three, got it. And Michigan a big answer. Livers finally on the board. Now 1 of 7 from the field. But that's big to get him going. 18:50 to go in the second half. 34-26, back to an 8-point game. Both teams get 3 points on their opening possessions of the half. Pritchard hands it off there to Duarte on the outside. He blows by Brooks, headed inside towards the paint, lays it up off the window, bouncing off the rim once. Simpson pulls down the rebound. He leads the fast break. Pass inside to Livers, lays it up off the window, and good. Isaiah Livers puts it in, 34-28. Michigan back within 6. That was the closest they cut it to there in the late stages of the first half, and already back to 6. 18:15 to go in the contest. Pritchard dribbles inside the arc, now tries to cross over Brooks, kicks it out to Duarte. He's outside the arc on the wing, hands it off to Mathis. Now CJ Walker dribbles inside, guarded by Livers, swatted by Teskey. Simpson pulls down the rebound, crossing up the court he comes, tries to fire it into the corner, but right into the arms of Peyton Pritchard as he was looking for Franz Wagner. Pritchard goes the distance
and the momentum,
lays it in easily.
Momentum got a hold of Simpson
throws
there.
It up again to Wagner, and that one out of bounds. 2 ugly turnovers from Xavier Simpson trying to run the court with Wagner, and he bends over with his hands on his knees. And for a guy playing in his 127th career game, just 2 crucial mistakes from Simpson.
Absolutely uncharacteristic there. I mean, the momentum got a hold of him, made a first careless error, feeling the crowd at his back. And I think he was just trying to make up for something there on the football throw to Franz Wagner.
Pritchard dribbles inside at the free throw line, gives it off to Okoro down low, guarded well by Teskey, and Okoro will throw it out. Now Pritchard dribbles inside, double teamed by Teskey and Simpson. Pritchard, nice pass to Okoro. His dunk is missed. This is just a missed dunk city here today. Brooks grabs the rebound, he kicks it out. Livers open three, bingo!
Well, I wonder what the difference is between these 2 rims. We've seen 4 missed dunks now on the one near us. The far one, every 3 falls into. I think the groundskeeper here is going to have to check that out, see what's going on the 2 ends of the court.
Oregon 36, Michigan 31. Walker passes it around on the outside. Will Richardson guarded by Brooks, and we have a whistle. It's like something grabbed underneath.
Going to be on Franz Wagner.
On Franz Wagner. And Oregon's going to come make a quick sub. They're going to bring Chandler Lawson into the game, and as we mentioned there at halftime, not a ton of usage for the bigs, and Okoro is the first sub off after only 3 minutes of gameplay. Now Pritchard to do the inbound, kicks it way out to Anthony Mathis, the 3-point sharpshooter. Now he passes it around. They find Pritchard open outside, guarded well by Livers after an initial pump fake. He hops through traffic outside. Mathis there, bingo. And Oregon continues to shoot the lights out through Anthony Mathis, who is now 5 of 8 from outside. He's got 15. Those are all the shots he's taken. It's back to an 8-point lead, 39-31. Michigan just can't get those stops to pull back within. Now Simpson's got the ball outside, already down to 15 on the shot clock. Gets a screen from Teskey, dribbles inside, bounces around the baseline. Livers in the corner for 3 again. He's got it again! Isaiah Livers, 3 of 3 from distance. And we've got the 3-point punches going back and forth right now. And I mean, these 2 teams, 39-34, Oregon on top, 16 minutes to go.
That was a gimme for Livers. You can't leave him all alone like that.
Pritchard dribbles inside, gives a hard shoulder check to Simpson. Now he backs off, staring down Isaiah Livers. The senior point guard for Oregon kicks it into the corner, dribbling baseline, Will Richardson, corner, CJ Walker. His 3 is good, and Oregon continues to shoot it very well. 7 of 13 from 3. And it's back to an 8-point game. Michigan finally making shots, and they can't get stops on Oregon. Here's Simpson, little hook off the window. No good, and Oregon pulls down the rebound. 15:30 to go.
And wow, you can feel the momentum sucked out of this building after a huge 3 from Livers.
Richardson dribbles in the lane. His shot way off the mark. Wagner couldn't control the rebound. Now Simpson comes up with it, and he had it stripped right out of his hands. Now Pritchard with the ball, and Oregon will get another opportunity, their second offensive rebound of the half. Pritchard inside, guarded well by Livers, tries to hand it off to Lawson down low, guarded by Teskey. Back outside Pritchard on the wing, dribbles inside, going to the rack, lays it up, no, with contact, but no call. Teskey rebound up to Simpson. He's going to try to take it himself, laying it up, and off the mark. Simpson went 1 on 3 there, and just not able to get it going. Pritchard outside, Mathis again, and it's off the mark. Little long, and Wagner pulls down the rebound. Michigan got a break there as Anthony Mathis got another open look. He's now 5 of 9 from 3, pretty close to his season average of 51%. Simpson gets the screen from Teskey, kicks it out. Livers a nice little move. Baseline turnaround. Did not go up with it, though. Outside to Simpson. Xavier gets the screen, now kicks it. Franz Wagner, corner 3, got it! And Michigan again. This is a 3-point assault from the Wolverines in the second half. Can Oregon come up with another answer? And it's 42-37 with 14:15 to go. Michigan keeps trying to claw back in it.
Scoreboard operator got a bit antsy there, added 2 threes for Franz Wagner, called it a 2-point game for a minute.
The old 6-point shot. Now here goes Lawson inside. His shot is too strong. Good rebounder. It was Walker, rather. And Wagner grabs down the rebound. His bounce pass to Teskey. Now back out to Wagner. Franz tried to go up with it. Decided that was not the best idea. Coach Juwan Howard calling out signals to the Wolverines. Simpson, open lane to the basket. Lays it up and lays it in. 42-39. Michigan the closest they've been in forever. 13:41 to go. We'll see if Dana Altman calls a timeout as this capacity crowd is on their feet. Peyton Pritchard guarded by Simpson. He looks over to his head coach, Altman. Simpson and Pritchard. Pritchard dribbles baseline, guarded well by Teskey. He dribbles through the lane, kicks it out to Will Richardson. Nice hand-in-his-face defense. Now Richardson tries to cross over Wagner. His lay-in, count it! And a foul. And we will go to the under-16 media timeout with it 44-39. And a free throw upcoming for Richardson. What a make there.
Franz is known for having better defense than his older brother Moritz, and that's the case there as well. But I mean, that's the story of this game, I'd have to say, is Oregon just making any shot they see. Michigan cuts it to 3 and plays absolutely suffocating defense, only for Oregon to not only make a bad look, but also draw a foul, go to the line, and can make this a 7-point game again, right when Michigan really was knotting things up.
And that's now 3 fouls on Wagner, so that'll be something to watch.
Well, and it was interesting because we finally are getting a break. That was an action-packed first nearly 7 minutes of the half.
Yeah, basically unstopped action.
Yeah, we're well under the 16-minute mark at this point for the first TV timeout. But Michigan going to the starting lineup that really struggled in the first half. They play well here in the second half. I'm curious to see what Juwan Howard does. I was surprised not to see David DeJulius come out there to start the second half. I'd have to imagine he's coming in after another unimpactful set of minutes there from Eli Brooks. And you'd think Franz Wagner be coming out for a moment, too, after he just picked up his 3rd foul.
Well, if you take Wagner out, you can go with the 3-guard lineup and insert DeJulius, or you can try and play Johns out there, but it could be cluttered with him and Teskey on the floor at the same time. It'll be interesting to see what Juwan Howard does out of this media timeout. And again, I mean, that was a great defensive possession. You have 5 on the shot clock with Richardson outside just trying to figure out something to do, and he basically has to do something as the shot clock is expiring, and he dribbles into the lane, a little turnaround, and as he's falling away, scoops it with the underhand. And I'm not sure how much contact there was, tough to tell from our angle, but he gets it to go and draws the whistle. So Richardson will go to the line. He has not shot a free throw today, an 88% free throw shooter on the season, though. 13:15 to go. Oregon 44, Michigan 39. Wolverines outscoring the Ducks by 16-13 margin here in the second half. Trying to claw their way back in it as it's number 5 Michigan against number 10 Oregon. And you talk about these two teams, they both faced a gauntlet. This is Oregon's 5th game against a top 15 opponent this year. This is Michigan's 4th against a top 10 opponent. So it is a really tough stretch of games for both these teams. Both were at the battle for Atlantis, and this is Michigan's 7th straight game against a Ken Pom top 50 team. So this has been a grind, and not just 7 straight games, but 7 in 17 days. And
if Michigan does pull this off, they're going to have 3 top 10 wins on their resume.
Yeah.
Maybe UNC won't finish the year top 10. Oregon will be close, but they're going to have one of the most impressive non-conference resumes if they can pull this off. Even if they don't pull it off, they're going to have a top 20 for sure, maybe top 15, top 10 resume befitting of a 3 or 4 seed in the non-con slate. Now they drop one on the road against Illinois, who probably is a bit underrated right now, the Illini. They could even jump into the top 25 this Monday, but I mean, Michigan right now, if they win this game, they are on track with the quality of opponents in the Big Ten and the fact that they will be playing multiple top 10 teams ranked top 10 throughout the rest of the schedule. they are in contention to get a 1 or a 2 seed.
Yeah.
If they can beat the good teams ahead of them.
Well, and that's why this is so important for Oregon, is the Pac-12 not as strong. If they could get a win like this in a true road game, it would be massive for their resume. Out of the timeout, Will Richardson attempting his free throw on the and one. That one rattles around and goes. So Oregon's lead back up to 6, 45-39. Michigan keeps trying to claw in it. They got it down to 3 before that beautiful three-point play. Wolverines bring it up immediately, get it to Teskey in the low post. He makes a dangerous cross-court pass. Xavier Simpson corrals it right in front of the head referee there. 16 on the shot clock, just dribbling way outside the arc. Now he gets it across to Eli Brooks. Haven't seen much of him in this second half. Delivers in the corner, back out to Eli Brooks on the wing. He's going to try to dribble inside the lane. His little underhand, left-hand scoop is not able to go, and Oregon pulls down the rebound. It's
interestingly, no substitutions either, but Johns does go to the scorer's table, so we will see one in a moment.
Duarte brought it up, and now dribbling with it is Peyton Pritchard. 12:34 to go, 45-39 Oregon. Michigan needs a good defensive stop here. They get it to C.J. Walker in the post. Backing in on Teskey, kicks it out to Chandler Lawson. That one way too strong off the heel. A big arcing rebound for John Teskey, who hands it off to his senior point guard, Xavier Simpson, staring down Peyton Pritchard in that matchup of two senior point guards who've played a lot of college basketball over the years, met each other in the Sweet 16 3 years ago. Now kick out to Livers, his fall-away jumper, money! And it's 45-41, 12 minutes to go in this game. Michigan continues to crawl back in it, but they're going to need some defensive stops. Haven't been able to get many of them when they've dwindled it inside 5.
And that's 11 points, 13 points in just 8 minutes to start the second half for Isaiah Livers.
Yeah.
Tale of two halves for him.
Oregon passing around with it. Chandler Lawson outside Peyton Pritchard. Got a little screen to shake Eli Brooks. Now he dribbles in the lane. That is a tough look. Bounces around and goes. And that's what you want your senior to do. A contested jumper in the lane. Was not the prettiest looking shot, but he got it done. Now Michigan, nice passing. Eli Brooks outside, looked to Livers in the corner. That was an open 3, and he didn't shoot it. Now Simpson with the ball in traffic. Dribbling around, gets a little help from Teskey. Just nothing going there, and now they get it off to Franz Wagner. He dribbles inside, lays it up. Count that, baby, and a foul.
There you go. He missed that twice earlier in the game. Drove to the rim, kept his head down, didn't look for teammates. Very much like fellow Michigan freshman from last year, Ignas Brazdeikis. This time he finishes the job, though. That was one of the biggest criticisms for Brazdeikis. Right there, though, he finishes it, gets the and one, can cut this to a 3-point game, and might keep Brandon Johns on the bench for a moment longer.
Yeah.
We saw David DeJulius join Johns at the scorer's table just seconds before that possession. You'd have to think DeJulius is coming in for Brooks. Brooks can be an incredibly streaky shooter, and he is 0 points still for the day, so you think he's done. I wonder now what happens with Johns, because Franz Wagner has to finish this free throw. He'll stay back in the game no matter what happens after this one. So Johns will stay on the bench for a moment longer, unless he comes in for Teskey, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do as we come out of this media timeout. 11-11 exactly to go in the game. A fun little numerical oddity to have a media timeout, but Franz will get his free throw. Wagner has not attempted a free throw today on the season, and 91.7% free throw shooter, though, so
I think he's just about the number one guy on Michigan's team. You'd want taking a free throw in a big
Yeah,
one.
I mean, he came in as a big-time shooter, but that fractured right wrist in the preseason, his stroke is... This is the opportunity now for Franz Wagner to really get in the swing of things, because that first game he played was the beginning of this 7-game brutal stretch.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. It's not been doing him any favors to get used to the speed of Division I college basketball.
Yeah.
Playing over for Alba Berlin, much like his older brother did. Now, of course, he joined the Wolverines at a much older age. He's 20 now. I believe Mo Wagner was 18 when he started his Michigan career. But so it's going to be hard to pick up to the speed now. But the fact that he started with such high-quality competition, it should make things very, very easy against UMass Lowell. We'll see. And then after that, of course, the big test is a trip to Lansing. So we'll see if maybe he's ready for that. Michigan's shooting has completely faded in true road games.
Yeah.
And there's not really another sport like it where home and road can make such a big difference in teams. And shooting, it can travel to Atlantis to play a neutral site game in a conference room. that they have there at the Atlantis Resort in the Bahamas.
Well, and again, it's a factor of just how many games both of these teams have played, but Michigan in particular, having that battle for Atlantis, and then going to #1 Louisville, and then having no layoff before the Big Ten play, and then Oregon. I mean, this is a really tough stretch of games, really compact in terms of their order. Interesting thing you might not know about Oregon. They're the only school in the country with a top 10 football, men's basketball, and women's basketball.
I was aware. They, yeah.
You're reading the media guide.
Yes, I am. They kind of keep the Pac-12 afloat.
Devoted broadcaster.
Indeed. In the 2010s decade, the Pac-12 has only had 3 appearances total in the Final Four or the BCS National Championship Game / College Football Playoff. All 3 of those belong to Oregon.
Wagner's free throw out of the timeout is a swish, and so Michigan cuts it back within 3. This is the closest they've been since falling down early in the game. 47-44, Oregon on top, 11-10 to go in the contest here between number 10 Oregon and number 5 Michigan. Pritchard double teamed by Johns and Simpson, a great trap, and he's able to escape it ever so slightly, getting it out to Duarte. Now right back to him on that big Block M logo at center court, staring down. Here comes the trap again with Simpson and John Simpson just mugging him. Now they get it over to the corner. Got to go up with the 3. Mathis, and that's an air ball. Michigan forces a shot clock violation, and something they haven't done all game, which is that double team trap with Johns and Simpson on Peyton Pritchard, proves effective right there, and Michigan will take over with 10:40 to go in the game.
And it bears repeating. I mean, Michigan's conceded 47, which is all right at this point, but they've played defense much better than that. Oregon has shot the lights out.
Wagner over to Simpson. They've inserted point guard David DeJulius onto the floor, rolling with a 2-guard lineup of DeJulius and Simpson. Livers, Johns, and Wagner, the current lineup for the Wolverines. Already 10 on the shot clock as Livers is just dribbling it outside. He's double teamed, has to get rid of it, and he throws it away to Peyton Pritchard, and DeJulius does the very, very easy foul just to grab Pritchard as he was running down midcourt, stop any fast break opportunity. Obviously no clear path foul in college basketball, so Oregon will just inbound it. That's DeJulius's first foul, team 4th for Michigan. 47-44, Ducks on top, nearing the halfway point of the second half.
And Oregon only with 1 team foul this half, which is a stark difference from the first half, where they had about 5 at this point, with about halfway through the first half. And Michigan didn't take big advantage of that anyway, but
the referee's having a conversation.
I'm not really sure what they could.
I don't believe there is a clear path foul in college basketball.
Well, even if it was not an obvious situation. I mean, there was another. I believe Xavier Simpson was also back there.
Yeah,
and could have, in theory, made a play on the ball.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be a clear path foul in the NBA.
And it was far from. I don't know what they could be reviewing for. It was far from.
They walked over to the scorer's table, talked for a half second, and now they immediately break up both huddles. I don't know why.
Got to be a clock issue, I think.
10:13 officially placed on the clock. Oregon will be inbounding. Yeah, they say common foul. There was no real question about a flagrant. He just grabbed him.
No, yeah.
I mean, that's a very common play you see in basketball to prevent fast breaks.
And it was very benign. You just put his hands on the hips, didn't force him to the ground or anything like that.
Chris Duarte to do the inbounding. Wagner guarding the inbounder. Now they get it in down low to Chandler Lawson. Back out to Duarte. Guarded by Franz Wagner. He's going to get it to Pritchard at the elbow. Guarded by Simpson as Pritchard backpedals outside the three-point arc. Gets a nice step on him, then runs into the corner. They do that double team again. They find Duarte. He dribbles to the lane. Stripped by Simpson, but they call a foul.
I don't know about that one.
I think he got mostly ball there, but they get him for getting the hand in the cookie jar.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a clean block.
I'm speechless.
Yeah. And now Duarte's first free throw goes down, 48-44. And I think we saw one block in the first half similar to that, where the refs have been a little antsy in terms of blowing the whistle really before they get to even watch the play. Second one off the mark, so half of an old ball don't lie right there for Michigan. 48-44. They still have a chance to cut it to within 2, which they have never done since falling down big early in that first half.
Except for the brief moment where the scoreboard gave Franz Wagner a 6-point shot.
Pass inside. Wagner lays it in. Nice feed from Simpson.
And now Wagner actually does cut it to 2.
9:35 to go here in the game. Peyton Pritchard dribbles it up. Now over to Will Richardson. He hands it off there to Addison Patterson. Now Duarte back to Richardson, crossing over Simpson, who fell down for a second. Now he gets back up. Driving inside, blocked by Johns. Michigan takes it away. Simpson runs the floor. Chance to tie for the Wolverines. He falls down again, kicks it out. Wagner sidesteps one man over to Simpson. He dribbles in the lane, and he's hit from behind. The ball goes out of bounds off Michigan. No, they say it's off Oregon. That's a good call.
And 3 amazing recoveries there from Simpson. Fell over, used his hands to keep up on the court, then got back into the play, got the rebound, falls over with the ball in his hands, finds Wagner, and then he nearly turns it over, but the refs find the right call, acknowledge the ball was punched out from behind him. Could have had three times in that 20-second stretch. Things could have gone horrendously for him, but it worked out every time in his favor for the highly experienced senior who last played against Oregon in the Sweet 16.
Yep. Dana Altman, the Oregon head coach, was yelling something about that call, and now Juwan Howard having a long conversation with Brandon Johns. Someone might need to dry off Simpson's shoes. They did get the mop out there, but he slipped on both ends of the court on that last possession. 48-46, Oregon on top. Simpson inbounds it to DeJulius in the corner. Now he dribbles out to the top. Simpson holding it, guarded by Pritchard in the senior point guard matchup. Simpson outside, kicks it to DeJulius, crossing over. Now he'll go to Brandon Johns in the post. He backing down on Okoro, pump fake, lays it up. That's going to be a goaltend, or no, a foul called first.
Goaltend would have tied it up in the least dramatic of fashions.
Yeah. Instead, they will get a shooting foul, and Brandon Johns will go to the line before he went up with that shot. That'll be the 3rd personal foul on Okoro, and now Johns steps up to the line. He's a 70% free throw shooter on the season. 8:50 to go in the game. Johns' first is a swish, and now 48-47. Michigan with finally a chance to tie. They trailed by as many as 16, if I remember correctly, in that first half.
It was 25-9 at one point.
Yeah.
So
Johns dribbles the basketball twice, bends the knees, goes up with the free throw, and that one goes down. Michigan has tied the game, 48 apiece, 8:50 to go. This sellout Chrysler Center on their feet, all 12,707 of them. Anthony Mathis with it outside, guarded by Franz Wagner. 8:35 to go in the game. Handing it off to Will Richardson. Guarded by Simpson, already down to 10 on the shot clock. Hands it off to Pritchard, a hard screen onto Julius, no foul called. Pritchard inside, guarded well by Johns. Shot off the mark, saved though. 3 seconds, 2, they gotta go up with it. Inside, Mathis blocked by Johns! Out of bounds, that'd be a shot clock violation anyway. Michigan takes over, 8:19 to go.
a completely unnecessary block from Brandon Johns, but that might be one of the most favorite of his career. No need to block that one. That was never going to count, but he sends the man and the ball flying behind the baseline and gets the crowd riled up here. And Michigan is no stranger to these early December 16-point comebacks against Pac-12 teams.
Yeah, UCLA 2 years ago. I was at that game.
That was one of my first games in the media section here in Chrysler.
It was my first as well. There's a kick on Oregon as Michigan was trying to inbound it. Isaiah Livers will now do the inbounding as the Let's Go Blue chants sound in this just electric atmosphere right now at Chrysler Center.
As Michigan playing for the lead for the first time all game, well, since the second possession of the game.
Yeah, and they're up 5-3. Livers can do the inbound. He's in some trouble. Uses timeout if needed. Now he gets it into Wagner. Oregon goes with their full court press. DeJulius gets it out to Livers. He dribbles up half court. Michigan's got numbers, but they're going to slow it down anyway, which is probably the smart decision as we approach 8 minutes to go in the game. Dana Altman's almost up at half court, calling out to his defense, trying to get Oregon to buckle in as they've been outscored 25-17 in the second half. Michigan's tied the game. Simpson, nice pass inside to Johns, who couldn't handle it. 3 on the shot clock's got to get it out. Pass to Wagner in the corner. Got it! Michigan takes the lead. A three-pointer from Franz Wagner in the corner, and it's 51-48 Wolverines.
Maybe the game isn't going too fast for him.
7-0 run for Michigan. Peyton Pritchard dribbles with the basketball, guarded by Isaiah Livers. Pritchard crosses him over, now tries to cross over again, kicks it back out. 13 on the shot clock. Anthony Mathis with the ball, guarded by DeJulius. Over to Pritchard, still guarded by Livers. Pritchard going to try to curl inside. He's in the lane, guarded well, kicks it out to the corner. Pump fake going in is Walker, lays it up and lays it in. Oregon used all 30 on the shot clock there to get that bucket, and it's to a 1-point Michigan lead, 51-50 Wolverines, snapping the 7-0 run, but Michigan's made their last 4 field goals. Simpson dribbles in the lane, kicks it out to Livers, his open 3, that one's not even close, and is going to go out of bounds for an air ball. 6:51 to go in the game. Michigan 51, Oregon 50. Buckle in, folks. This is going to be a ride to the end.
And we said it at halftime. This was a game that was played more evenly between the teams in an 8-point deficit, despite Michigan's horrendous shooting and Oregon's great shooting. Michigan was playing like a team that could be in this one. And they tied it up a lot quicker than I thought they were going to be able to, with DeFranz Wagner the whole half. And Oregon is making some very difficult shots despite that.
Yeah, this has just been a great game between two teams. And the thing was, we were talking before the game and really during the week about the noon game for a Pac-12 West Coast team. You look at the NFL, West Coast teams normally do not play very well when forced to play 1 p.m. games on the Eastern time in the NFL, but it was Oregon who surprisingly came out as if they were the team playing in their time zone. But Michigan has clawed their way back, and we have the Wolverines in the NBA graphic right now. Duncan Robinson had a 30-point performance for the Miami Heat, where he set a franchise record in three-pointers made in a game. Also saw Jordan Poole being honored.
Not bad for a former D3 basketball player to go all the way to a 30-point NBA night, and former WCBN member, if we might add. The Doc and Dunk podcast, for you Michigan basketball fans, remember 3 years ago, that was produced by WCBN Sports.
Well, and an interesting thing about Oregon, when we're talking about the NBA, they are one of 7 programs with 5+ draft picks over the last 3 NBA drafts, their most recent being Bol Bol, going in the second round. But you think back to that Final Four team for Oregon, Dylan Brooks, Jordan Bell.
Yeah, a team that narrowly beat Michigan. I remember Derek Walton had a 3. I can't remember if that was to tie or to win.
It was to win. The score was 69-68 in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, so Michigan, going all the way back to my freshman year, ancient history. But Derek Walton had a shot to win the game. Could have sent Michigan to the Elite 8, where I remember thinking at the time, it's not that devastating because Kansas is a world beater, and Michigan wasn't going to win either way.
I was convinced that Michigan was going to beat them.
You, of course, as the Kansas basketball hater. Yeah, Bill Self.
I'm not a Kansas hater, I'm a Bill Self hater.
Fair enough. Yes, the Bill Self hater in chief. You might have saw that differently, but I thought it's okay because the difference between the marginal happiness added from going to the round of 32 to the Sweet 16 is much greater than Sweet 16 to Elite 8.
Yeah, losing the Elite 8 is the worst of all rounds.
Yes, as Michigan has lost recently, but to Kentucky not long ago.
This is the 5th all-time meeting between Michigan and Oregon. This is only the 2nd on campus. The other one was here in Ann Arbor, December 21st, 1950 tourney in 2014.
And they could have met in Battle for Atlantis this year. That was, in fact, I think likely to happen after the first round.
And these two teams will play again next year in Eugene. This is a home and home.
A lot of trips for Michigan, going 3 hours west and then 5 east to go to London later that December.
So out of the timeout, Oregon with the basketball, trailing 51-50. Dribbling around with it was Richardson. Now he kicks it outside to Walker. Did a pump fake, got Johns to budge, but decided not to go up with it. He's not much of a three-point shooter. Passed it over to Peyton Pritchard. He runs baseline, trying to get a dunk with the Walker cutting back door. Michigan takes it away, and the Wolverines dribble up with it. 51-50 game, 6:22 to go in the contest between number 5 Michigan, number 10 Oregon on WCBN Sports. Simpson hook shot off the window, no, and Teskey and Johns, neither of them could procure the offensive rebound. Oregon comes up with it. They get it to Anthony Mathis in the corner, draws a pump fake, and he will go to shoot 3, drawing the foul on Eli Brooks.
And I wonder how long Livers will be on the bench here. It's an interesting substitution to begin with. He only has 1 foul, so this isn't about foul trouble. Maybe just giving him a rest here for a moment in the second half before needing for big minutes.
They've got to replay whether this was a 2 or a 3. It was a 2-point shot, so Michigan catches a break there. Anthony Mathis will step to the line, the 3-point sniper, 5 of 9 in this game from 3, and he's a 90% free throw shooter on the season. He'll get 2 here with the chance to put Oregon back up on top after Michigan had stormed back to take a 3-point lead. But the student section waving those noodles in the background. We'll see if that throws him off. His first free throw is off the mark, rattled around, and dropped off the front lip. So this one will be to tie.
Maybe that's why college basketball home games are just so crucial. The noodles at the student sections wave.
His second is good, so Mathis makes 1 of 2, and it's 51-51 tie game here. Eli Brooks with the basketball. 6 minutes to go in the game. Passes it up to Xavier Simpson. Michigan's been empty their last 2 trips up the floor, looking to change that here. Xavier Simpson dribbling around with it over to Brandon Johns. Oregon has done well to weather the Michigan rally as they've come all the way back from 16 down. Teske hands it off to Simpson outside. 10 on the shot clock. Dribbles around a couple Duck defenders. Pass inside. Teske goes up with it. Off the mark, no. But they're going to call a blocking foul on Oregon. And so Teske will go to the line to shoot 2. That would have been an and 1 if it had dropped. It rolled around, but decided not to go. And so the big sleep, the 7-1 center for Michigan, will get 2 free throws. He's at 69% free throw shooting on the season. 5:41 to go in the game.
No one at the scorer's table, so we'll be without Livers for another moment in this game.
Teske makes his first, puts Michigan back up top, 52-51.
And wow, could you hear a pin drop?
Yeah.
Right there, too. I mean, the Chrysler has done a great job so far this season, really bringing the...
And here comes Livers. They just brought him straight off the bench. Johns will go and take a seat. That might be for the rest of the game.
So Michigan's going to be pretty small here.
And Teske's second is also good, so the big man goes 2 of 2 at the stripe. Michigan up a bucket, 53-51, 5:40 to go. Ducks dribble it up. Pritchard, who's played nearly this entire game, dribbling the ball, and he hands it off to Chandler Lawson. Now right back to him outside the three-point arc. He's trying to find Mathis free, but Eli Brooks is wearing him like a cheap suit as he runs around the arc. Pritchard dribbling with it, gets a small screen from Okora, now dribbling into the lane, double-teamed well, and I think he blocked. Yes, he did. Got a little antsy with the feet. Michigan forces another Oregon turnover. That is now 12 on the game. Make it 13 for the Ducks as the stat page now updates, and so Michigan takes over the ball with the lead, 53-51. They have not led by more than 3. A bucket here would make that the case, and Brooks turns it over. He got met by the trap. They get it to Mathis on the wing. His 3 is money, and Oregon takes the lead, 54-53, and a quick timeout by Juwan Howard, who is furious, storming all the way out to midcourt to yell at his team. And with 5:02 to go, the plot thickens.
I mean, talk about momentum right there. That is quite the game changer. You cannot let Mathis have a look like that. He's now 6 for 10 from beyond 3, and he hasn't attempted a 2-point field goal all game.
And he's at 51% on the season. I mean, that's not really an uncharacteristic
No,
performance.
and Oregon's shooting 50% from 3 right now. And to testify how great Michigan's been defensively so far this game, Oregon's shooting 50% from 3, 80% on free throws, and only has 54 points with an eighth of the game remaining.
Yeah.
It's been a phenomenal defensive performance by Michigan. They have had quite a few just horrendous errors on offense that have held back an otherwise pretty good three-point shooting night. They're 8 for 19, 42% from beyond the arc. So both teams making 8 three-pointers apiece.
Well, this is an Oregon team that shoots 40% from 3 on the season, second in the Pac-12 and 19th nationally. And then we want to talk about the battle for Atlantis, the tournament that both of these teams played in. You remember in the battle for Atlantis in those late game situations when Michigan was trying to choke the game away against North Carolina and against Gonzaga. Eli Brooks really struggled late in those games, both as an inbounder and when the ball was inbounded to him, dealing with that pressure. And we see it here again. The trap comes in, and Brooks just panics, coughs it up, allows a 2-on-1 the other way that Oregon exploits, freeing Mathis on the wing. And so he's got to figure out a solution to those issues right now, because it is a problem. And you think about Michigan, they had 3 timeouts prior to this one called by Juwan Howard. If Brooks is in that situation and doesn't know what to do, he needs to burn a timeout there. You can't turn it over like that with the backcourt empty.
Absolutely, and I wonder how much we'll see from him for the remainder of the game. Just 2 points today, and he can be such a streaky player, scoring 24 against North Carolina. A lot of Duke greats haven't done that in their careers, but when he's on, he is on. But tonight is one of those nights where he looks unconfident from shooting. We saw last year he looked afraid to shoot the ball, despite being a prolific high school scorer. Today he had a look from 3 in the first half that he passed up that I think 90% of the time he usually would shoot this season at least. tonight's one of those nights, I think, where he's just become a victim of his own head, can't escape his own thoughts, and has had a really rough day.
But he's a solid defender, and Michigan is going to need that down the stretch. He has that, it's the trade-off in this game in particular with Brooks struggling offensively but playing great defense, and DeJulius was such a big spark in the first half but has always struggled defensively in his Michigan career.
And Brooks remains on the court. No changes, I believe. Teskey, Simpson, Livers, DeJulius, and Brooks. So the three-guard lineup, still a pretty small lineup here. Smaller lineup from Oregon as well. So Michigan now with a chance to take the lead again after they were up 2 with the ball last time.
Julius gets it in to Isaiah Livers. Livers has the trap come. He runs into some trouble, gives it over to DeJulius. He's got to get it up to Brooks. Oregon up 54-53, under 5 minutes to go, and they're still doing that hard press as Michigan brought the ball up. Simpson gets the screen from Teskey. He dribbles in the lane, throws it up. Teskey lays it up and lays it in. A modified alley-oop, and Michigan takes the 1-point lead back.
He needed all 7'1" of himself to get that one.
Yeah, not a pretty pass, but he got the job done. 55-54. 4:30 to go. This one might come down to the final possession as Franz Wagner heads over to the scorer's table to check in at some point. Lawson over to Anthony Mathis. They're trying to get Walker free in the post. DeJulius doing well despite a huge height disadvantage. Now Pritchard blows by Brooks. His little runner is money. Beautiful shot from Peyton Pritchard. He has not been the biggest factor in this game, but he's up to 10 points. Averages 18 per game on the season. 4:05 to go. 56-55, Oregon on top. Simpson gets the screen from Teskey, crossing up his defenders. He gets inside, kicks it to Teskey. He lays it up. No. Tipped around. Teskey tried to get his own rebound. Couldn't quite do so, and now coming away with it are the Ducks. Leading by 1. They throw it inside. Wild play to Walker, and I think they're going to get a foul beforehand, or a travel. And so Michigan will take over. We head to the under 4 media timeout. 3:47 to go. Oregon 56, Michigan 55.
And the 2 officials there who at least had anything to say about it were definitely in disagreement. And that drew a very livid response from Dana Altman. He didn't like that, to say the least. Ultimately, though, one of the officials coming in insisting that was a walk. I think he had the best angle at it.
Yeah, that was a tough one, and this is just back and forth action right now. Oregon has made 3 of their last 3 from the field, which is a bit of a worry for Michigan. They forced some turnovers, now up to 14 turnovers on the game for Oregon, and shooting has almost regressed to even. Oregon 44% from the field, Michigan 39%. Wolverines, after that dreadful first half shooting performance, now all the way up to 42% from 3 on the game, which is pretty incredible, as Isaiah Livers has shot the lights out in the second half from distance, and so has Franz Wagner, who's getting ready to come back in. This is the final media timeout. Obviously both teams with 2 timeouts themselves, but this is going to be the final sprint, and what a game it's been.
And it's going to be a really tough pill to swallow for Michigan if they can't win this one. I think they know that they really could have won this game playing their B- basketball. A lot of self-inflicted wounds here. A lot of just careless turnovers in the second half alone. I can think of 4 backcourt turnovers. Just quite a few things Michigan could have wished they did differently, but they could still win this one despite all the errors. I think Michigan has shown, in a neutral site, I'd pick Michigan to beat Oregon head-to-head most of the time with the way these teams have looked today. Execution being a big question mark, though, for a young Wolverines basketball team.
Seeing some of the best passes in this game from Xavier Simpson. He's had a really nice performance as a whole. Not necessarily himself offensively, only 2 of 7 from the field, but 8 assists. He came in as one of the best assisting players in the Big Ten Conference. And again, this is going to come down to defensive stops for Michigan, defensive rebounding, shutting off the 3, and whether they can make some big shots of their own.
Final TV timeout under 4. This is going to be tight, any close basketball game, it frequently comes down to just wishing you had the ball last, and it probably is going to make this a nail-biter to the very stretch for whoever wins it. Yeah.
This is a battle, and, you continue to look at this situation where Oregon leads Michigan by 1. You think about that 4-point plus swing at the end of the half where Johns misses a dunk and Oregon comes down and makes it Michigan forces a turnover here late in the second half, and Brooks turns it over, and it turns right into a Mathis 3. I mean, it's those kinds of little mistakes that have prevented Michigan from really starting to pull away.
I'm not sure what this buzzing noise is they're playing over the big board here in Chrysler.
They're trying to get the crowd fired up with 3:47 to go.
Star Wars week was last week, right?
Yeah, that was against
Iowa. I
Iowa.
thought that was going to be some kind of Star Wars promotion. I don't know. Interesting noise there, but Michigan caught a break with the travel call on Oregon. One official was ready to call a foul on the court against Michigan, so Franz Wagner enters the game for John Teskey, surprisingly.
And Brooks inbounds it to Simpson in the corner. He runs into some trouble, has to be careful, throwing it up to Livers, who then wildly flings it up to Eli Brooks. Michigan escapes the full court press there. 3:38 to go in the game, trailing by 1, 56-55, Oregon on top. Simpson dribbles the ball at midcourt, throws it over to Brooks, now gets it right back along the arc. He dribbles baseline, now trying to penetrate inside, goes around the corner, spins there, makes a dangerous pass inside. I think it's going to be a tie-up, which will go to Michigan with the possession arrow, but they will have just 4 on the shot clock off the inbound. And again, right there you see Simpson running into the lane, struggling to keep his balance and making a very, very dangerous feed to Brandon Johns. And Simpson will do the inbounding, and obviously he's probably the worst three-point shooter on the court. He fires it into Eli Brooks, going to try to dribble inside, pull up, long range 2, off the mark, and Johns pulls down the rebound, but they say it's a held ball, and the possession arrow flips right back to Oregon, and the Ducks take over, leading by 1, 3:16 to go. Michigan not able to get that one on the offensive possession, and they still trail by 1, and the Ducks with an opportunity to stretch their advantage.
3:16 is going to be a ton of basketball to play here, but every single possession is empty possession is going to sting for either team. And how often do you see 2 jump balls within 5 seconds of each other?
Yeah. Dribbling on the outside is Richardson. Pritchard takes the ball at midcourt. 2:55 to go in the game. He gets around Simpson inside, lays it up, and lays it in. Not very often you see a guy blow by Simpson like that. Johns came over to help, but the bucket goes down, and it's 58-55 Oregon, 3-point lead. Simpson gets a small screen from Livers, dribbling outside, now crossing over, kicks it out. Wagner thought about pulling up from 3, gets harassed there for a second, throws it underneath. Eli Brooks kicks it back out to Livers, now to Wagner, 2:30 to go. Someone's got to take a shot. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Livers running into trouble, 5 seconds. Simpson there, 3, he dribbles inside, the running hook, yes! Off the high glass, and Xavier Simpson rescues a disastrous possession for Michigan and cuts this game back within 1, 2:15 to go. Crowd getting on their feet. Pritchard dribbling over towards Altman there. 2 minutes exactly, 12 seconds on the shot clock. Pritchard dribbles around, got double teamed for a second, into the lane. His floater goes down, and Peyton Pritchard right now is winning the battle against Xavier Simpson. Brooks dribbling around the baseline, very careful not to step out of bounds. 1:43 to go. Livers comes up with it. Now he's going to get the double team. Fires inside to Brooks. Easy money there, but he missed the shot. And Johns grabs the rebound. They're going to call a foul, though, on Oregon underneath.
And
1:34 to go.
Brooks missed a wide open Johns, too. Before he took that shot, he could have passed it out to Johns for a clean look.
He either could have passed it or taken another step and laid it in easily. And he took the worst option of the 3 and missed the shot. Johns able to get that rebound, but again, you just see Brooks all over the place right now offensively. An uncharacteristic defense from Simpson as well. They get the inbound to Johns up top. He's going to drive hard, laying it up and laying it in. Contact, but no whistle. Back to a 1-point game, 1:25 to go. 60-59, crowd back on their feet on this defensive possession.
And how about Brandon Johns having 2 of the best games of his young career in his last 2 home games at Chrysler?
Yeah. Pritchard to Richardson. Back to Pritchard. He's the guy with the ball, and he's been taking all the shots for Oregon. He blows right by Simpson again and lays it in. Peyton Pritchard has scored all of the last points and Oregon now has made their last 6 field goals. They get it to Wagner, open for 3. Money! Game tied at 62, under a minute to go.
And that's leaving him that open. It's like one of those moments where it's a 4th and 30 in football, and somehow a wide receiver is unguarded 40 yards downfield. Don't know how Wagner was that open.
Oregon comes up with it, and Simpson commits the foul, and Oregon is in the bonus. I believe that will send Pritchard to the line for a 1-and-1.
And the scoreboard operator just fixed it. They only gave Wagner 2 on that shot.
Oh boy.
And there was no hurry for that one. That's going to really haunt him if that only does go down as a 2-pointer. I don't know if Michigan knew that was only a 2. Maybe would have affected strategy there on that last.
Juwan Howard's almost at midcourt screaming at the referee. I think about that 2 or 3. I think they have to review it. There's no way you don't review a shot that big.
And it does look like they're heading toward the scorer's table.
45.4 to go in the game. Pritchard will have a 1-and-1, and he's a 71% free throw shooter. But you talk about Michigan, we came into this half talking about how well Michigan had played defensively. And it does, yeah, it is a 2. So 62-61. But yeah, we came into this half talking about how well Michigan had played defensively. And they have not played well defensively. Oregon, over this last little stretch, Oregon has made their last 6 field goals. And yes, there was a couple turnovers in that span, but that's not good enough. Pritchard's 1-and-1 attempt makes the first, 63-61.
17 points now for the senior.
And you talk about, I mean, only about 3 or 4 minutes ago, Pritchard was sitting at about 7 points. But he's done it pretty much all himself over this last minute, and right now you're just seeing the better player on the court go to work.
As DeJulius comes in for Brooks here for the final 45 seconds of this game.
63-61 Oregon. Michigan talking to the referee, and the referee over at the scorer's table, I don't know what's going on here. And both coaches walking over there confused. Pritchard will get his second here. Again, a 71% free throw shooter. Dribbles it and goes up with it. He missed the second. Johns grabs down the rebound. Michigan is now going to run the floor. 40 seconds to go in the game. 25 on the shot clock. Simpson guarded by Peyton Pritchard. Trying to get a screen from Livers. Nothing coming. 15 on the shot clock. Simpson gets some help. Finds Johns underneath. He lays it up and lays it in. Shot clock turned off. 26 seconds to go.
No tomahawk this time. He gently put that one off the glass.
Oregon can hold it for the final shot, and you know who's going to take it. It's going to be Peyton Pritchard. 15 seconds to go. This crowd is rowdy and fired up. Dana Altman not taking his time out. 9 seconds, 8 seconds, 7 seconds, 6 seconds. Pritchard tries to dribble around Simpson. Inside, he's stripped, ball up in the air. Michigan can try and find it. Outside Mathis, I don't think he got it off, but he hits it. Let's take a look. Juwan Howard is signaling no shot. I don't know if he got it off.
Officials have yet to make a signal. They're talking about it.
They are counting it, I think, at first. Let's take a look at the time.
Oh my goodness, what a dramatic finish, no matter how this goes down. This is remarkable.
If it was off in time, Oregon's going to win on a buzzer-beating 3.
And what a shot. That was from 25 feet back or so. Our early indication from the iPhone replay is indicating he did not get it off. We have an iPhone video right now here to give it to us. Watching the replay right now.
No good! We're going to overtime.
Oh my goodness. This is a nationally broadcast game on CBS, and what a treat. I sure hope everyone tuned in for this, whether through of course, preferably through WCBN Sports, through our YouTube channel, and over the airs on 88.3 FM Ann Arbor. But I'm so glad this game is broadcasted to hundreds of millions of televisions in America right now, because, wow, this is what college basketball is all about. If this were a March Madness game, this would live on in the memory of millions of people as an all-time
guy. The only one who was willing to give us video, because the scoreboard operators here at Chrysler were too coward to show us the video of that three-pointer, as literally the game hung in the balance.
Pretend this is an Elite 8 game, or let's say Sweet 16 game like it was 3 years ago. That shot goes in and it counts. That is on highlight reels for eternity.
Yeah. And also, shout out to myself. I called that one on the air saying I didn't think it went down or went off in time, but
Oregon was running around. It was like the pool shot, you know, the way the bench cleared.
Yeah, well, I put all my eggs in one basket there because I really was not excited for that going down, so it would have been a pretty bad call if it had counted.
Well, and there wasn't that much pressure, right? It didn't feel like it was likely to go in. It was not much closer than the pool shot either.
I mean, it was almost half court.
He
was way out there.
It was from like the corner of the M, the block M here at midcourt. I mean, what a sequence of events there. Peyton Pritchard, who has just dominated Xavier Simpson, one of the most stout defenders in college basketball. The two true seniors, four-year starter and a 3-year starter going head-to-head, and Pritchard just dominating that battle in the final moments of the game. He comes up short. Oregon grabs that board, and everyone thinks there's not enough time. They still get an incredibly deep shot off. Michigan survives by a thin margin. It wasn't razor thin. It was a pretty quick review. Amir and Evan both knew that was not good pretty quickly, but...
And we will have a tip-off. It'll be Brandon Johns to do the tip against Francis Okoro. Johns standing at 6'8", Okoro at 6'9". So this is a short person for a tall person jump ball to begin this OT session. 5 minutes put up on the board, and that's going to feel like eternity based on the intensity we've just been playing this last little bit at. And the jump ball is won back by Brandon Johns. Possession arrow will go to Oregon, but Michigan gets the opening possession of overtime.
Short is a relative term.
Yes. Simpson dribbling around outside. Now he steps back, trying to cross over Okoro. Now he kicks it out. Wagner open three. Bingo! Franz Wagner, after starting this game so cold, is on fire right now. And it's 66-63 Michigan, 4:35 to go in overtime. Ducks with the ball. Richardson passes over to Peyton Pritchard. He's going to try to get around Simpson. He drives baseline, lays it up, and lays it in. Peyton Pritchard is an assassin right now, and Dana Altman takes a timeout. Michigan's going to have to find something to deal with Peyton Pritchard right now. He's got 19 points.
And that puts a three-way tie between Anthony Mathis, Peyton Pritchard, and Franz Wagner for the high score in this one. I don't think really any of them care about that at all right now.
Nope.
Because, oh man, would it be devastating to play 45 minutes of basketball, this contested of basketball, and walk out with a loss. And Pritchard also, he's dominated Xavier Simpson defensively too in the final minutes here.
Yeah.
Just shutting down Simpson, and Simpson's been having to leave it to his other teammates to find an open look. You saw Brandon Johns, after missing 2 dunks earlier in this game, have one of the most gentle layups I've ever seen with such little time left.
And Michigan will have the ball up 66-65, but they're going to do the full court trap that Oregon's been doing here for the last several minutes of regulation and now into overtime. And Michigan's got to be careful after that critical turnover by Eli Brooks. He's not on the court, but that's maybe the biggest reason why we're still playing right now. And that one is a giveaway. DeJulius threw it away. They get it to Mathis outside. He pump faked around Wagner, but that one thrown away by Oregon. Michigan picks it up. Simpson running the fast break. He throws on the brakes, and now will be watched by Pritchard. So back-to-back turnovers from both these teams as this frenetic pace continues. Simpson, screen from Johns, dribbles around outside, kicks it to Livers. He thought about going up with it. Now outside of Brandon Johns, and we're going to get a foul underneath. That'll be the 5th team foul on Oregon, going against Richardson, who was trying to deny an entry pass to Johns at the elbow.
And that was Mathis who gets his first personal foul.
Was it on Mathis? I had it on Richardson.
They just announced it was on Mathis, but what a recovery by Franz Wagner on the defensive end.
Simpson's got to get it in, and he flings it like a dodgeball out to Wagner outside the three-point arc. DeJulius over to Simpson. Crowd fired up about something. Not exactly sure what. A lot of jostling going on away from the ball. Xavier out by the logo. Now he's dribbling up. They're getting Johns isolated underneath. Now Simpson goes inside, going to try to go up with the hook shot, and he got annihilated there on the low block, and so Oregon takes the ball away. Pritchard coast to coast, laying it up and laying it in. This is Peyton Pritchard against Michigan's entire team right now. Michigan gets it up in a hurry. Wagner underneath, lays it up and lays it in. Michigan running the fast break to take a 1-point lead right back. 68-67. Here comes Pritchard again, guarded by Simpson underneath the basket. He turns around. Simpson stripped him. Ball is free. Jump ball is going to be to Oregon. So the Ducks retain possession, 3:17 to go in the game.
It would have been with Michigan at the end of regulation, but the jump ball, resetting things and giving it to Oregon after Michigan wins the jump ball. I kind of always hated that rule. Felt like there should be more reward for winning the jump ball, but
yeah, that's a really nice strip there by Simpson, but that's really the only effective defense he's had on Pritchard all game.
And that could be
now Okoro dribbling around Johns, and a beautiful running hook shot off the glass puts Oregon back up 69-68. And with 3:05 to go in the game, Michigan dribbles up down by 1 in this OT session. Xavier Simpson staring down Pritchard. I mean, he's already dribbled 15 seconds off the shot clock with nothing much happening now. He dribbles to the right side, matched up on Okoro, outside to Wagner. Wagner matching up, and he draws a foul. That'll go against Richardson. And that'll put Michigan in the bonus on the next foul, but they'll have to do the inbound here. Shot clock reset to 20, 2:46 to go in the game. Simpson throws it up to Wagner. Michigan down by 1. To Julius. Simpson, they've got Livers in the corner. Now he turns around with it. Helps out Simpson, who's now switched on to the taller Okoro, and Simpson traveled. He hits the 3, but his step back was a travel. And right now, Xavier Simpson is all over the place on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, it's been a tough day for him. Quite a few turnovers as well, but most of the rest of Michigan players have stepped it up big time in this game. Surprisingly, no John Teskey. We'll see if Michigan in this overtime. We'll see if Michigan can get the win without great games from Simpson or Teskey.
Patterson does a nice job to dribble around to Julius, get into the lane, then kicked it back out to Pritchard. Here we go again. Pritchard gets the small screen, switches on to Brandon Johns inside the lane, swatted by Johns, who then grabs the rebound himself. Finally, Michigan gets some help on Pritchard, and Brandon Johns' block makes it 69-68. Simpson outside. He's at 3-point distance. He tried to shoot it his last possession. Now he gives it over to to David DeJulius, 15 on the shot clock. Gets the screen from Johns. Now he switches on to Pritchard, 10 on the shot clock. They go into Johns in the high post. He's going to spin around, going to the rack, lays it up. No, but he drew a foul, and he'll shoot 2 at the line.
This game is just neck and neck ever since the 10-minute mark of the second half. No runs really to speak of, just one empty possession, one bucket, back and forth all game, and this might be tied up after two free throws here for Brandon Johns, who I believe is 4 for 4 on the day.
Yeah, he's 4 of 4 at the line today, 70% free throw shooter on the season, though, so we'll see what he does. Dribbles the ball twice, spins it in the hands, bends the knees, goes up with it, and he missed the first. Second one will be for the tie with 1:41 to go in the game. 69-68 Oregon. Peyton Pritchard now 20, and Oregon grabs down the rebound. Regressed to...
And oh man, is that going to sting. Johns has had such a phenomenal game. He could have gotten to 10 points had he made both of those free throws, but rebounding-wise, he's been just incredibly showing off today. His wingspan has really come into play as he got the block and the board against Peyton Pritchard. Just one possession to go, but right now the senior leadership on Oregon has outshined Michigan's, and that could be the difference.
Well, and right now you're just seeing when Michigan comes up with the ball, Simpson stands and runs 15 seconds off the shot clock with nothing really happening. He dribbles around a little bit and has really had no success getting to the rack today. Had one running hook about 5 or so minutes ago that salvaged a late shot clock possession for Michigan, but outside of that, he's had no success at the rim. Oregon 50% from the field, Michigan 44%. Pritchard does the inbound, gets it into Mathis. Mathis over to Pritchard, here we go. Simpson tries to get a hand in there and force the ball free. Pritchard goes right around Simpson, lays it up, count it, and a foul.
And that might be the dagger. Pritchard, of course, a very great free throw shooter. If he missed one that kept Michigan in it late in the second half. But Brandon Johns wasn't there for help that time, was a bit distracted by the big down low Okoro. I think Michigan has to count on him helping out Simpson down low for the rest of this game with the way Pritchard's been playing.
71-68, and that one off the mark. So Michigan gets a benefit from a missed free throw. Oregon up 3. Michigan led by 3 earlier in overtime, so it's definitely doable. But only 70 seconds to go in the game. They're going to have to hurry. Simpson dribbles the ball outside, staring down Okoro. 15 on the shot clock already, just nothing coming. Simpson in there, tries the running hook, no. And Johns pulls down the rebound, outside Livers. Simpson to Julius, now to Wagner. He goes up for 3, and that one is way short. Ball loose on the floor, and he stepped out of bounds, did the Oregon man underneath. Couldn't see who it is, looks like Okoro. And so Wolverines will get another opportunity, and Juwan Howard is going to take a timeout.
They'll get 30 seconds on the shot clock, but they're not going to want to use nearly close to all of that. The strategy here is going to be try to get a quick 3 or a quick 2, and then force Oregon to not have, to have one more possession, but not enough time, not so few time that Oregon can burn up the entire game clock with their last possession.
Well, the issue right now that I think Michigan has to talk about is, at least on the defensive end, I mean, you've been putting Simpson on Pritchard pretty much just one-on-one for about the last, close to 5 or 6 minutes. And, Simpson's the best defender on this team without question, but he just hasn't had it. And they went to a trap earlier in the game against Pritchard. You have to wonder why they haven't gone to that.
It worked marvelously.
Yeah.
And we're 44 and some change minutes into basketball right now, and Oregon only has 71 points despite shooting 50% from 3. And once again, the Johns missed free throws. There's going to be a lot of moments that Michigan is going to feel not burn out the whole clock. If they can score in the next 10 seconds, Michigan will be able to run a real offensive series unless funny business happens with Oregon's next possession. But you have to score here, otherwise Oregon can basically ice it with their next possession anyway.
Simpson now to do the inbound. And he flips it up high to Brandon Johns. Now over to Dave DeJulius. DeJulius dribbling around outside, gives it off to Simpson. Gets the small screen from Johns. He's got DeJulius open if he went up with it. Now DeJulius drives baseline. Floater is good. 34.7, so
a bit longer than you would have hoped for, but they got the 2 points. That was most important.
And they throw it out of bounds off Michigan.
That's worth a look.
They're going to have to review that one.
Oh my, this is going to be one of those ones where the ball lasted off someone by clipping their fingernail. It was never intentional, and that could decide either of these teams' futures. This will have a big, winner or loser, the winner of this game probably moves up 1 seed because of this game. When it comes to March Madness seeding, loser might drop down a seed as a result.
Oregon tried to inbound it, and getting a hand in there was DeJulius. And Chrysler has not shown us a single replay all game.
The student section behind the scorer's table.
They're finally showing us something. Oh, I think that's off Oregon. The old Charles Matthews versus Purdue replay right here.
What if this does get overturned, which I expect it to be? What a series right there from David DeJulius, knowing that he didn't have a great look, but
and it's Michigan ball.
And DeJulius knew he had to score quickly. Took a beautiful floater, not a beautiful look, but made it nonetheless and got his team the ball back. And now Michigan, it's an interesting strategy here. Do you play to try to use up all 30 seconds and get the last great look of the game?
I think you have to take a shot with like 15 seconds left. So if you miss, you still have time to foul and get another possession. But that's always been my opinion.
With the way Peyton Pritchard's playing right now, you're terrified if Oregon ever gets the ball back. 8 points for Oregon here in overtime alone.
This is where if you're Juwan Howard, you take your timeout and you run a play that sets a screen and frees up one of your three-point shooters.
Well, there's a lot of them on the court right now. DeJulius, Livers, and Franz Wagner all having marvelous games offensively. Livers had 13 points in an 8-minute stretch and nothing since then.
And now, finally a timeout is going to be used. I like this decision. Both teams have 2 timeouts. This is where you use your timeout and get something going. Basketball doesn't use the whiteboard that much, but this is your chance to draw up that play down 1 point.
And this game is impossible to solve. There's no runs. We're right whenever you think a team is picking up momentum or it's starting to look like it's going to go their way.
There haven't been runs since the game drew even.
Yeah, since the game drew even. I mean, it was a big run that brought Michigan back into this game. And I don't know if anyone's had a 5-point run since then. It looked like Peyton Pritchard had ended the game with a minute 10 left after getting the layup, the and one against Xavier Simpson. Misses the free throw. I never know what's happening next. And I can assure you, whatever the 5 things I think are most likely to happen here aren't going to happen.
71-70, Oregon on top. It was down to the last shot when these two teams met in the Sweet 16 back in 2017. It's probably going to the last shot right now.
Very well might be another Derek Walton for the win situation. That three-pointer fell no good. Michigan down 1 here as well.
Simpson gets it in, delivers. Pretty benign inbound pass. Now he holds it outside. Michigan content to just hold the ball as Johns comes out to set the screen. Not coming. Simpson just standing there. Now down to 20 on the shot clock. 24 on the game clock. Simpson dribbles around his man, kicks it out. Bad pass to DeJulius. 13 now. DeJulius inside, lays it up, off the mark, bounced around, out of bounds to Michigan.
And now Michigan gets the last shot.
They get the last shot.
And once again, I never would have predicted that right there.
And
Michigan gets...
I think they're going to review this one.
I don't see how this couldn't be off.
I don't know. There was a lot of bodies off that miss.
We cannot see the near end line, but it looked like Oregon touched that ball while it was going out. One of the Oregon players, I believe that was Pritchard, was diving for the ball as it was rolling out of bounds. I'm pretty sure he made contact then, but I can't see the end line from where I am, so I have no clue if he actually got that. But again, what an unlikely and favorable twist there for Michigan if they do get the ball here in the final 10 seconds.
10.8 to go. Almost every home basketball game I've ever done has been wild, and this one is no different. Tough to tell from that replay.
I don't think Pritchard touched it at the end right there. Although, once again, the review here doesn't have a good look either. The sideline was also obscured by a fan. This is really close. I have no idea.
This is taking a long time here.
Yep. This could go either way. That look that we got is not a great one. I can't tell who it came off of last when it left the pile, and I can't tell if Pritchard got it.
Well, if it is Oregon basketball, Michigan still 11 seconds left. Oregon only in the single bonus.
Yep.
I mean, this is a lot of time.
Absolutely.
Michigan will get one more possession with a chance to tie or win regardless of what happens here. It's just if they get the ball out of this review, they could hold to the last shot.
Looks like they're ready to make the call.
Now they're talking to the other referee. The students who are right in front of those referees are happy, but no official call has been made.
Talking to both head coaches right now. Oh boy, you can feel the tension building. You can cut it with a knife. Huddles break. Oregon's huddles break. They don't know where to go. They walk toward the Michigan rim. Now they walk back toward midcourt.
The referees still haven't made a call yet. The referee standing at midcourt is talking to Oregon and Altman and all the coaches. The Michigan huddle is still right in front of their bench, and those two referees are still standing over there at the table. I am totally in the dark.
Oregon, they keep walking toward the rim they've been defending. Still no call.
Now the referees have broken the huddle. We haven't seen anything. Now they go back over to, I think they're going to tell the announcer. And the Oregon players go back to talk to Altman. Or no, are they still looking at it?
This is one of the moments where you really wish you were at home watching the broadcast on TV, seeing all 5,000 replays.
People who are texting us are saying that it could go either way, which was our conclusion from the Jumbotron.
Yep, and this call will not decide the game, as you pointed out. Michigan has time. It has a foul. They can go foul, get a draw 1-and-1. Pritchard has
again,
missed
in this
his last 2 free
situation,
throws.
you set 1 minute on the clock, and if you can't come up in 1 minute, you just stick with the call on the floor. This is ridiculous.
And they might be figuring out the clock, too, might be why this
how
is
many
taking
more
so long.
seconds of squinting at a monitor do you need?
I have to think they're also looking at the clock right now, but...
And the Oregon coaches seem incensed right now. They might just be mad about no call.
I mean, both coaches, they've had forever to talk about both contingency plans. We only got one replay here, and it was kind of useless. I mean, this is one where I don't think
this
you can overturn.
This is one of the longest replays I've ever seen in college basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. Oregon is now walking toward the rim they've been defending.
But there's still no, I mean, either way, the ball's going to be over there.
That's true,
That makes no difference into the call. They just want to start walking around and keep juiced
Keep
up.
your legs fresh.
And the Michigan players are joining them, but there's no real signal who it is that's inbounding. And the three referees are all still standing at the table.
Oh.
And they say Michigan ball. Jeez Louise.
I was just about to ask how long that's been, because I feel like I've aged 3 years in that time stretch.
10.8 to go. This is it. Michigan can hold to the last shot.
Oh, here we go.
Everyone on their feet, all 12,707 in Chrysler Center. Michigan 70, Oregon 71. 10.8 to go in this game in the overtime session. Wagner can do the inbound, and he throws it towards Simpson, guarded well by Pritchard. 10 seconds to go. He's got to hurry. 8 seconds, 7 seconds, 6 seconds, 5 seconds. Simpson's got to go with it. He goes up there. His running hook off the mark. Tipped up and tipped again. And it's off the mark, and Oregon wins. 71-70. What an awful possession.
Yep, just a bunch of plinko at the rim right there, and doesn't go Michigan's way. I mean, it was one of the better college basketball games I've seen in quite some time, but it's not going to do anything for this home crowd. And that's a brutal loss for Michigan. They could have had 3 top 10 wins going into a Big Ten play that's going to be stuffed with other top 10 teams to play.
And
Michigan
now
goes
3 losses in their last 4 games as well. Michigan will probably drop from the top 10, you would think, in this week's poll.
Yeah, failed to defend home court and lost on the road in Urbana-Champaign.
And I think, everything has been very rosy with Juwan Howard so far in his tenure, but I think this was a very poorly coached game.
I'd have to agree. I mean, I think Michigan did come out, and I think Michigan probably is a bit better of a team. There were some crucial errors, and some of that might be guys not following instructions, but you go back to the Eli Brooks turnover, that absolutely should have been a timeout, then this game would not have gone to overtime. The fact that Michigan left the trap that was working so well against Peyton Pritchard, and then Peyton Pritchard simply dominated Xavier Simpson once Michigan went away from that. There's going to be a lot of hard pills to swallow. I would hate to be in that film session later today or tomorrow or Monday whenever they get onto it, because there are a million different moments where you think if Michigan had just set something up a little bit differently, might have gone differently. Franz Wagner couldn't get his foot back and accidentally shot a 2-pointer when he meant to.
Michigan had an eternity to talk it over in the huddle during that review to plan on either scenario, and I just have no idea why that was what was come up with out of that 7-minute timeout. Well, we all love the Simpson hook shot, but that's not a high percentage shot, and it hasn't been today. And when you're shooting so well from 3 late in this game, even a jacked up 3 is a better shot than that.
And with the shooters on the court, it was the same 5 players throughout overtime for Michigan. I also have to wonder why Teskey wasn't in there to maybe grab a board on the final possession.
Yeah. Well, Johns has been rebounding well. I mean, he helped create. I mean, they got another look there at the buzzer.
And you'd have to think a 7'1" player might be able to change things. The women's team takes the court. After such an intense game, you kind of forget that Michigan Appalachian State here in women's basketball has to be played. But it's going to be a hard one to get over. It's going to be one that I think we'll be thinking about for a while. Now, Michigan, they play nobodies until the January 5th meeting in East Lansing.
Yeah.
So this could be a long hangover for Michigan, losing 3 of 4, losing 2 in a row, and potentially losing 3 games against meaningful competition in a row if they don't win in East Lansing. An incredibly difficult atmosphere to go win at, one where they could not win last year. This was such a dream start to the season. They skyrocketed up to 4th in the AP poll. They're still a much better team than was anticipated going into the year. I think any less of this team because of the way today went. I think they played pretty well all in all, got a bit unfortunate. And I think they still are very much competing for a top 4 seed. This is going to make a 1 or a 2 quite an uphill battle. But once again, if you beat Ohio State, beat Michigan State, you're going to be very well seeded. Beat Maryland. A lot of basketball to be played. Michigan, I think, through this non-con slate, which has basically been played to its meaningful entirety at this point, impressed very much. They've earned themselves. They should have. I can't imagine any bracketologist having them lower than a 5 for the time being.
No.
They are still in a very favorable position going forward. I mean, this one stings to not win. I think there'll be a lot of coachable moments for Juwan Howard that he can go back and think maybe I could have done something differently here.
And I think you look back at that first half, I thought Michigan's possessions in the first half were quite good. They just missed some shots. But in overtime and late in the game, the possessions really fell apart. And it basically turned into hero ball between Pritchard and Simpson.
And Pritchard won that decisively.
Simpson was unable to guard Pritchard to save his life. And on the other hand, you just had too many sloppy shots there from Simpson.
At the same time, Michigan played a top 10 team.
Yeah.
And it's not a top 10 team because they got in a hot streak or anything like that because they were overrated. This is one of the 10 best teams in college basketball, I believe. And a team that isn't going to have many more moments for his marquee win, as he pointed out. This is going to be one of their signature, probably the signature win, beating number 5 on the road. And then they're not going to play too many great teams left for the remainder of the year. So this is a big loss for the Wolverines. Huge win for Oregon, but you have to think Simpson, not a great game. Teskey didn't have many minutes at all.
Yeah.
And Michigan still played pretty well with their 2 key seniors having rough games.
So with that just about does it here today. Oregon 71, Michigan 70. The final score went to overtime. Just an absolutely terrific game to watch.
It's a shame this couldn't have been an Elite 8 game or something like that, because this would have gone down in the annals of history.
Yeah.
It's one of the better March Madness games. It's a December dandy, though. I'll say that much about it. And
it's going to be a tough week off for this team compared to the sugar high you would have gotten from potentially winning this game and storming all the way back. But
and it'll be associated with an AP poll slide.
Yep.
Probably down to 12 or something in that range. But
and a slow start cost Michigan here in this one as well.
Absolutely. They erased a 16-point deficit, got up by as much as 2 or 3. They were led by 3 in overtime. Ultimately, for nothing, if not for at least a coachable game, their first real close game beside the Illinois game. So one that will make them stronger in March. They will remember these scenarios. They had a game where in one game they did a lot of things right and a lot of things wrong in these moments, and it will make them better for March, where they can make a deep run. They are contenders to reach the Final Four again, and it'll be a coachable game, one that they really wish they had back. But I don't think one that should make you feel worse about Michigan basketball going forward.
Well, that just about does it for us. For Akshay Luthra, Evan Osterly, Daniel Thompson, I'm Alex Strain from Chrysler Center one more time. Oregon 71, Michigan 70. Good night, and go blue.